What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9SW Chapter 181. I am a month old, Father Orochimaru, Mother Orochimaru. Advertisement Kaguya was eventually imprisoned. Go home and confine it for 3 days. Lan Yu said to read 2 more books, but Kaguya still smiled happily. At the same time, there was a problem on Obito's side. Originally, he was ready to hand over the power of the captain and change into new clothes. On the way, taken away directly by the Academy of Sciences. Captain, save me, save me. Looking at the people in Yakushi Kabuto, Obito couldn't help shouting, panicked. The Imperial Academy of Sciences. In the eyes of the civilians, it is a great holy place for the benefit of the Empire, but in the eyes of the 3 armies and sacred troops, it is hell. It is said, Field Marshal Senju Hashirama was invited to the Academy of Sciences for inspection. After coming out, cried for 3 days and 3 nights. God knows what happened, and it has made everyone frightened ever since. Obito naturally didn't want to go, scared to death. Kakashi shrugged and said, I am no longer your captain, and the Academy of Sciences invites you to go there. You can choose not to go. Not going? Was it on the notebook by the Orochimaru with gold glasses? Yakushi Kabuto chuckled and said, don't be so nervous, you should be lucky to go to the Academy of Sciences for inspection, otherwise you will die miserably. What the hell? Obito was taken aback. He sounds like a disaster is imminent. Remember Otsutsuki Momoshiki? He approached, 077, before he died, and then disappeared. Yakushi Kabuto's words caught everyone's attention. Obito couldn't help feeling nervous. What the hell do you mean? The people of the Otsutsuki clan can copy themselves and digitize themselves, and then infiltrate them into others. This ability is called fast, use others as containers, and look for opportunities to resurrect. Before Dao Shi died, he used his own data into you in the form of a wedge, which is what your majesty said. Yakushi Kabuto's words stunned Obito. That motherly girl is so poisonous? No wonder he deliberately ran up to him before he died and muttered something. Damn it, don't let me go if I die, he is jealous of my handsomeness, is it wrong to be handsome? Obito yelled angrily. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Deidara stepped forward and patted Obito on the shoulder. Sorry, I will spend your bonus for you. Obito was taken aback. Hidan also stepped forward and said with emotion. Cherish the last time, I will not mess up the captain's villa you assigned. Obito stared. Uchiha Shisui also smiled. Mangekyo stay, too, lest it be cheaper. Obito finally recovered, staring and shouting, get out of here. Inside the Academy of Sciences, Orochimaru was chatting with someone. It was a man with short white hair and orange glasses, and he talked very darkly with Orochimaru. The two exchanged various technologies. The white-haired man's name is Armado. In the future of the original trajectory, during the blog period, one of the internal elites of the Shell organization. A genius scientist, developed various high-tech weapons. It also created a clone of Jiraiya, Blackheart Jushi. The development of scientific endurance in the Bo People's period was greatly influenced by the Shell organization. Certainly, that is the future of the original trajectory. There are still more than 20 years to come. Amado is now a genius scientist of the Academy of Sciences. Conquer spiritual nuclear weapons for the Empire. I dreamed of that terrible man again last night, white houri, black cloak, and long braids. With that, Amado couldn't help being depressed. Orochimaru raised his brow slightly. Is it the guy who invited you to join the mysterious organization before me? Amado nodded. If you didn't show up in time, I would have been taken away. What Shell tissue? This name sounds like rushing to the street. How can the Holy Empire be strong? Amado is thankful for his choice. After all, there are too many truths in the Academy of Sciences. Orochimaru earnestly said, since it is mysterious, then you must have a plan. Tell White Zetsu and let him check it. The Empire developed peacefully for 8 years. What might come up with Gyuki Snake God? At this time, there was a sound of footsteps, and Adu could not help but smile. Dean, I have to say that your son is very good. Excessive reputation. Orochimaru couldn't help laughing. Parents want their children to be good, and his son happens to be very good. My father. The little boy was about 8 years old, with light blue and white hair, the same eyes as Orochimaru, and pale skin. Wearing a blue and white long dress with an empire emblem. It is the child of Orochimaru and Oshahime, it's not a human being. The original trajectory of the future, a blogger friend, is now more than 10 years old. Also from artificial people, with real parents. Ba Yu, you happen to be here. Orochimaru took out a document and handed it to Jade with a gentle smile. Always staying at the Academy of Sciences is not suitable for growing up. Your mother has applied for the enrollment letter of the Holy Soldiers for you. Go, work hard to become stronger, and pay more, friend. Holy Soldiers. Your mother is so kind. Jade loves to laugh very much, and her eyes narrowed with a smile. Those things don't matter. Even so, however, he quickly accepted the document, and gave a polite month. My father, Uncle Amado, I went to the army to report, goodbye. Not waiting for the two to speak, turned around and ran away. Seeing this, Orochimaru shook his head and said, this kid is a little impetuous. Amado was speechless. Come on, you can be happy in your heart. My son is excellent, I am just happy, ha 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 ha. The Academy of Sciences suddenly heard Orochimaru's laughter. Obito, who was about to come in, trembled. Is this, the devil's laughter? Hell Science Academy, here I am, the new 10 captains are established. As the so-called new officials take office, the other captains are busy running in the major forces, and the same is true for little Hinata. Advertisement: the third team. Hyuga Hinata was wearing a captain's uniform and standing on a high platform, no one dared to take it lightly. After all, the captain of Hinata was the one who played it. People from the 3rd Brigade have seen that game. Hyuga Hinata hasn't spoken yet, there is no sage soldier younger than her in the 1,000 people below. Even people of the same age are several months older than her. Everyone was looking at her. Hinata was not nervous, and was recalling the speech that the teacher gave. The 3rd team is known as the team with the most stings. There used to be, now there are more. For example, Namikaze Naruto curled his lips. She is not older than me, she turned out to be the captain. Sasuke rubbed his hands tightly. Damn it, I'm so far away from someone my age. Gaara raised her eyebrows. She broke Captain Kakashi's record? White nodded. Yes, the 11-year-old became the captain, and she was only 8. Neji exclaimed, as expected of the eldest lady. Shikamaru helped his forehead. It's so troublesome, I hope Captain doesn't talk too much. Ghost Dang Shuei, Rock Lee, Shoji, Shino, Ya and others have different expressions, and there is a lot of discussion. She is the new captain. It's great, Idol, Tenten, Ino, Aroma Phosphorus, Tamari, Shion, Black Earth, Huang, etc. Lowly looked at Hinata one after another. Although he didn't speak, but all of them are very excited. In the 1vs11 game, Hinata made them admire. Most of the above are holy soldiers. Gaara and White Zero, currently the team leader. The squadron leaders of the 3rd squadron are Momoji No More Cut, Yamato, Heavy Tongue, Chonjuro, Akato, Nozomi, Samui, Baki, and so on. Kakashi felt his head big at a glance, fortunately. Hinata took over his position. Hinata, remember, hit it if things go wrong. Imperial medical is very powerful, as long as you don't kill it. This sentence was said by Kakashi. Hinata, you have a lot of stabs in your troops. Let's take a fight first. If someone is killed, your concubine will help you resurrect. This sentence was said by Kagaya. The two were ruthless than the other. Hyuga Hinata remembers it very clearly. One said that he would fight again in case of trouble, and the other was to start the fight directly. Hinata still decided to listen to the teacher. No matter what's stinging him, hit it all again. If you don't be honest, hit it again. The troops have strictly ordered that they are not allowed to move around during the formation, let alone whispering. Hinata's voice sounded, getting colder and colder. Just stand up for me who moved and talked. What? Zuo Ming and others couldn't help but stare. They murmured casually. Was it heard so far away? Swipe. The others retreated hundreds of meters uniformly, leaving Zuo Ming and others messy in the wind. Ruined. Naruto paled. Sasuke's forehead dripped with sweat. Damn it, good comrades in arms, how can one run faster than one? Hinata is like this. Too familiar. That's the tone of Kakashi before hitting someone. After joining the team for 2 years, Zuo Ming didn't know how many times he was beaten by Kakashi. Full of psychological shadows, misunderstanding. Shikamaru also panicked a bit. He didn't expect the fire to burn so fast, he would just start the fire without even speaking. Sloppy. Bai and Gaara also jumped their eyelids. As soon as Kakashi left, many people were a little slack and were arrested one after another. Suigetsu, Shoji and others couldn't help but smile wryly. Faithful Hope. The new captain, don't be too wolf. At this time, not far away, a blue and white figure trot over here, attracting everyone's attention. I saw Hinata on the high platform for a month, and immediately saluted. Report to the captain, the 3rd team recruits come to report every day. Hinata looked over calmly, can cross the barrier and come here. It must be the 5.7 formal way, but, looking at the month-long uniform, Hinata solemnly said, since I have joined the team, why not change into the uniform? Has been a little bit affectionate. Zuo Ming and others are speechless. It's terrible, the captain didn't even let the recruits go. If you violate the rules of the army, you will be punished. Hinata said, walking directly from the high platform to the ground. I'm relatively ruthless. If any of you are afraid of death, then leave here immediately. Hearing Hinata's words, Shoji and others breathed a sigh of relief. Ruthless? Girl, can you have Kakashi ruthless? Sasuke gritted his teeth and saluted. Report captain, can we fight back? Everyone looked at Hinata. When Kakashi beats them, he can fight back. Can. Hinata doesn't care about these. Here. Zuo Ming and others rushed over immediately, but in the middle of the road, Shikamaru yelled. Disperse, it's all about to disperse. Because at the moment, Hinata's Byakugan instantly blew. Tensigen open. Tensigen reverse gravity Shenra Tianjung. Boom. The repulsion burst the audience, everyone flew out, and a large swath of blood mist swayed. Hiss. No longer cut and the others in the distance were all sluggish. It really is. Hit to death. Chapter 182. Zuo Ming's shocking discovery, thousands of miles to chase and kill the leader of the Shell organization. Advertisement, have you heard? The 3rd Brigade captains matter? Yes, I heard that a lot of stingers have been killed. It's terrible, Captain Hinata is terrifying, the entire sacred army. Even the three armies of the Empire were shaken. The third group of the Saints, the new captain Hyuga Hinata, was on the first day of becoming the captain. Strong kill. 32 sage soldiers of the third group, Sasuke, Naruto, Shikamaru, Choji, Shuei, Ya and others. 2 team leaders, Bai and Gaara, above, kill on the spot. After hearing the news, Kakashi was dumbfounded. Hinata is so cruel. Didn't I say that as long as you don't kill you, does she think it's okay to kill him? Hinata. I'll listen to the teacher, it will save trouble. Kaguya. Really good, kill a few small things and help you resurrect as a teacher. Hinata. Thank you teacher, they should be good this time. Kaguya. It doesn't matter, kill again next time. Zuo Ming and others. After the dead Gaara and others were resurrected. In the end, it left a terrible psychological shadow, and I was afraid of Hinata and obeyed. Kakashi was stunned when he knew it. Such a simple way to flatten the thorn, so what on earth have I been doing all these years? I think of Deidara, Obito and others. He had been maimed countless times and still stabbed his head. Kakashi wanted to cry without tears. Fortunately, everything is over. Now he is the deputy captain, and the third team will be handed over to Hinata. At the same time, Column Madara, Kaguya, Kushina and others. Chi-Chi looked towards the gate of the Imperial capital. There are very special Ryotsu, chakra, is entering the city. This person is by no means an empire. Are there still non-imperial people? This is very interesting. Everyone didn't rush to take action and watched calmly. 07. After the resurrection, Zuo Ming and others asked for leave one after another. Decided to take a day off before going to training. Hinata agreed, lest they leave an unrecoverable psychological shadow. Inside a restaurant, Zuo Ming's 5 people looked at each other in silence. In the end, Shikamaru coughed slightly and said, although it was accidental to be killed once, it is normal for us to fail to beat the captain. Everyone still feels cold, they were beaten to death alive. Even when he was resurrected, he trembled as soon as he saw Hinata. How could there be such a terrible peer? I must double the training, and fight back sooner or later. Sasuke's tone was full of determination, and he said that he had never been so serious. Don't avenge this. Pillars are not 2 pillars. Naruto slurped his mouth while eating the food. I can't even beat me. Let's practice for another 800 years, idiot. Idiot Naruto. Who are you stupid? Sasuke turned on Sharingan immediately, staring at Naruto with scarlet eyes. Naruto grinned. You, idiot Sasuke. A whole Naruto, I fought with you. Sasuke immediately jumped on, and the two wrestled into a ball. Everyone was speechless. Are these 2 natural rivals? Tenten fights. At this moment, Bai Wei frowned. Over there. That person is so strange. Who? Gaara looked back, startled. White Haori with a black cloak covering his face. What surprised them was not the clothes, it's Ryotsu of the other party. Although the Empire still has ninjas now, for example, there are quite a few among the 3 armed forces. They know the approximate level of ninjas Ryotsu, but this person's Ryotsu far exceeds that of regular ninjas. It's even hard to perceive. This proves that the opponent's Ryotsu is stronger than them. There are only 2 possibilities. First, the opponent is also a spiritual power system, and second, the opponent's ninja is superior to the shadow. Bai and others couldn't help frowning. The spiritual power system, either in the Sacred Army or in the 3 armies, will not come to eat under the hood. Imperial people, why pretend to be mysterious, also at this time? The man in the black cloak raised his head. You can see the other party's hair gathered on the top of the head. Music sees a long braid left behind his head, and a V mark on the bottom of his left eye. Naruto exclaimed, he is a monk. Sasuke frowned. There is no monk among the strong. Shikamaru condensely said, his clothes also don't have any imperial emblems, and they don't look like imperial clothes, so it should not be an empire. Everyone surprised there is no monk in the spiritual power system, and there is no monk in the super shadow ninja. He does not belong to the strong man of the empire? But how is this possible? The people in the ninja realm are all citizens of the empire. Gaara guessed. Will the empire secretly record the strong, but we don't know it? Why do you think so much? Just point it. Naruto immediately stood up and walked towards the monk, digging out a certificate and handing it over. Look at it. I am an imperial sage soldier. Please show me your ID card. Please cooperate with the investigation. Thank you. Everyone. Direct enough. It is indeed a good way. In 8 years, enough empire will record the information of everyone in the ninja world and distribute identification documents. If there is not, it must be some careerists who are unwilling to join the empire, avoid the empire, and don't know where to hide. Looking at the sacred soldier ID that Naruto handed over, and listening to Naruto's question, the monk frowned slightly. How many children discovered it? Empire ID card. He knows naturally, but that kind of thing cannot be forged at all. The structure is too precise, and there is a kind of energy on it that he can't understand. This made the monk's expression slightly change, and Shikamaru, who was always paying attention to his expression, also changed his complexion. 90% may not be from the empire. That's the anti-thief who is conspiring against it. Advertisement, Captain. The Baiyun Hotel on Yunhua Street found an abnormal person. The target is most likely not an imperial person, and the strength may be extremely strong. Shikamaru immediately took out his mobile phone and sent a secret message. I'm afraid Hinata didn't see it. At the same time, a secret technique, Lingza communication was issued. Great discovery. Sasuke and others looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. Unexpectedly, a non-imperial person was found in the imperial capital. This near-impossible probability was run into by them. Definitely a great achievement. Through this monk, you can find more. Eliminate unknown hidden dangers for the empire. Catch him. Sasuke yelled and rushed up immediately. Shikamaru couldn't help holding his forehead, it was too messy. But since Sasuke rushed over, they can only go together, never let the other party run away. Shengbing arrested the prisoner, please leave the hotel immediately, and make compensation for all damage afterwards. Swipe it. Bye. Gaara, Sasuke, and Shikamaru surrounded the monks one after another, and they burst into spiritual power. Ling Fa4 Soul Enchantment. The 4 light beams are directly connected to each other on the roof, and a light black enchantment is condensed in an instant. Envelop the monk in. Naruto was shocked, and suddenly shouted, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to surround me?" "Shut up, idiot, take him down." Sasuke left a clone to maintain the enchantment. The body jumped down and waved suddenly, spirit fire style great fireball. The spiritual power instantly condensed a large ball of fire, which was thrown out by Sasuke. Small divine destruction. Shikamaru released their arrows one after another. Fireball mixed with arrows raided the monk. Sure enough, it was discovered. Looking at the attack, the monk's expression was indifferent. Boom. Attacks from all sides exploded in the enchantment. What surprised Sasuke and others was, the monk disappeared instantly. Where is he? Perceiving Ryatsu's past, Naruto's eyes widened. What is this ability? How did the spirit body become so small? There is a small object moving on the ground. They only perceive the Ryatsu of the spirit body. The original human-sized spirit body is now like an ant, which proves that the opponent's body has shrunk hundreds of times. Shikamaru said solemnly, "It's confirmed now, he really isn't an empire." The attack just now was a small temptation attack, but the monk's ability to react directly showed his identity. Doesn't belong to anyone in the empire, go to hell. Sasuke's fingers condensed thunder and lightning, and blasted directly to the ground with a small divine destruction. Boom. Accompanied by the ground exploded. Buzz. A black-red circular portal in the shape of a black hole suddenly appeared, and it quickly became larger, and the enchantment and Sasuke were all swallowed in a flash. Don't give them time to reflect at all. The black and red Uzumaki disappeared in no time. These children are very courageous, just a little impulsive. Children around 10 years old can understand. That person is not simple, but very capable. He has Otsutsuki-like breath, and my concubine feels it. Zu Madara and others secretly communicated. Brush. Hinata appeared here. Looking at the mess on the ground, Shikamaru and others didn't feel Shikamaru and others, and they frowned slightly. Who is fighting? A squad of patrolling sages arrived. I am Hyuga Hinata, the captain of the 3rd team. Please deal with the matter here. Remember to double the compensation. My team will be reimbursed. I am grateful. 080 Hinata left a word and left immediately. When leaving, a card appeared in Hinata's hand. Ryatsu, who was left by the Saint soldiers, is inside. With this card, you can track down the location of each Saint soldier. This, distance space transfer. Looking at the coordinates displayed on the spirit card, Hinata was surprised. The coordinates show thousands of miles away, very far away. There are few people in the far north. Pump plop. A black and red Uzumaki appeared, and the 5 Uzumaki fell out one after another. But they are not slow to respond. The realm of shadow was directly opened at the moment of landing. Let's hide it first to ensure safety. Huh? Disappeared? At this moment, the monk's body was covered with black stripes. Seeing the 5 children disappear instantly, he couldn't help frowning. The rumored secret of the empire. Even he couldn't perceive where he was hiding. The monk tried his best to keep his words mild. Children, come out. I have no malice against the empire and you. Go and lie to the 3-year-old, idiot. Suddenly Sasuke's voice sounded. The monk tried his best to perceive and determine the direction, but there was nothing. Very good. The monk's expression changed and he chose to wait. A group of children are impatient. The monk's name is Seion. In its body resides the Otsutsuki style, quick, seal power, which is the Otsutsuki style, tool. Also because of the power of Otsutsuki, from ancient times, living to the present. Because of the existence of the empire, Seion established the Shell organization a few years earlier than the original track. However, the scientist Amato was intercepted by Orochimaru. The Shell organization was established. The purpose is to recover chakra fruits and resurrect Otsutsuki. One type was attacked by Kagaya, and half of his body was swallowed by 10 tails. But Seion's body is not suitable for rebirth, currently looking for new containers. The peach pose on Obito is still being studied by the Academy of Sciences. Another kind of string of kindness appeared on the body. Obito. Come on, come to the Academy of Sciences and be happy. Quack. At this time, several arrows raided from the shadows everywhere like lasers. Directly attack Seion. Chapter 183. Do you know how I spent thousands of years? Advertisement brush. Seion quickly avoided the divine destruction that struck. The moment he avoided, the 5 Zuoming suddenly appeared from the realm of shadows. Ryatsu broke out. Although the 5 are young, Ryatsu is not that strong. But it can still contain the next Seion. The 5 strands of Ryatsu condensed into one, straddling the layers of distance, and directly landed on Seion. It didn't make him too uncomfortable, but made him frown. The aura that acts on the soul, spiritual technique, shadow imitation technique. At the moment when Seion frowned and thought, Shikamaru's shadow has been connected to Seishen's shadow. An interesting art. Seion was very disdainful. Although the body is one, the impact is minimal. He can easily break away. But these two types of Ryotsu outbreaks and shadow imitations, which have little impact, gave everyone a great opportunity. Fighting for a moment is enough. Before the Shikamaru shadow imitation technique, Zuoming and the four were prepared for a small divine destruction. All at that moment. Dao laser cut across the void in an instant. Puff chick chick. The moment of stagnation. 4 blood holes appeared on Seion's body instantly. Shoulder, forehead, heart, right hand. The intense pain caused Seion's brain to be blank for an instant, which is the great pain of the combination of body and soul. How can it be? Seion is difficult to understand. He was actually penetrated by several little ghosts? The pain of the soul, far beyond the body, fatal wounds. Success? Zuoming and others were also sluggish for a moment. They can't seem to believe it. A few small combos solved the opponent. However, the 7th article of the army, the enemy must be thwarted. There is no residue left to crush the enemy, it's over. Ling Bing done freezing time. Spiritual power advanced from Bai's hands, and a white cold air suddenly filled Seion's body. Directly freeze him who is dying. Do not. Naruto came to the ice cube from the other side, and a psychic ball appeared in his hand. Ling Rasengan. Ling Chidori. At the same time, Sasuke on the other side's spiritual power turned into a burst of lightning. The two attacked on the ice at the same time. Boom. The entire ice sculpture shattered instantly. Brush. Sasuke and Naruto stepped away, because Gaara's attack has also arrived. Spirit sand binding pivot. The spiritual power turned into sand, directly rolling all the debris together, twisting and strangling fiercely. Condensed in place into a human-shaped sand sculpture. Lujumaru, again, released a shot of divine destruction. Through the sand sculptures. Destroy the corpses. Finish. Seion couldn't believe it until he died. The little ghosts who were not in his eyes were killed in such a moment of stagnation. This was impossible in the ninja world. The killing is not counted, but also the bones and ashes. I killed him. Naruto, Sasuke, Gaara, and White spoke at the same time. Sasuke frowned. It was my arrow that pierced his forehead first. It was a fatal blow. Bai said gently, my arrow pierced his heart first. Naruto smiled, his arrow hit his right hand, and he immediately looked at Gaara. What does it have to do with you? Gaara shrugged. If I don't penetrate his shoulders first, how can you have a chance? Everyone's eyelids twitched. Why Gaara's face is as thick as sand. Is he really dead? At this moment, Shikamaru's small face was tight. It always feels too simple. Dare to go to the Imperial capital alone, can it be a small person? Sasuke disdainfully said, it's not that I look down on him, his body and soul are shattered, and he is not dead. Everyone's forehead. I was a little excited. Naruto excitedly said, if you can judge it normally, how can that person be better than elite Jonin? We killed him, it's a great credit. Seion. So I am elite Jonin? The 5 of you really surprised my concubine. The sudden sound made the 5 small only startled, then surprised, followed by joy. Master Kaguya? Brush. A figure fell in front. The scarlet pupils looked at the 5 little ones with a little surprise. Because they accomplished an impossible feat, really you? After seeing the opponent clearly, the 5 little ones couldn't help but get a little excited, and then stood straight and saluted. Sasuke, Naruto, White, Gaara, Shikamaru, 3rd Battalion of the Holy Soldiers. I have seen Marshal Kaguya, you have worked hard. Kaguya returned a gift. No hard work. Uchiha Sasuke, the 2nd pillar, turned red at this moment, and waved his hands again and again. Talk to the martial level boss. Showerju's heart exploded with excitement. This guy grabbed my words. Little Naruto glared at Sasuke, then laughed. Kaguya has worked hard, we just killed a waste. Ha 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 ha. I, Naruto, had a conversation with a martial level boss. After going back. Be sure to brag about it. The 2 of them were not excited. The little soldier should have been excited when he saw the highest rank of the military. Waste? Kaguya gave Naruto a weird look, and rarely explained. He is just too careless and arrogant. From a psychological point of view, because you are too young, he does not treat you as humans at all, so there is no precaution. Seize the opportunity. Zuoming 5 people, didn't you treat us as human? Was he killed by us to the effect? Advertisement. Sasuke suddenly became angry. That B***************** D. Cage level is not that crazy. Give me another year and I will slap to death. Kaguya said calmly. In terms of level, he is a 6-star level. 6 stars again. 6 stars? 6 paths? Sasuke stunned the titanium Sharingan, and Shikamaru was stunned. Really? When are they so good? He is an ordinary monk, and his real power comes from his body. Kaguya looked far away, her red eyes flickered slightly, and, you didn't kill him either. What? Zuoming and others immediately tightened, and quickly retreated. Boom. A terrifying chakra burst out, set off a strong wave of air. Big, Jane. Wei, Night. This voice is full of resentment and killing intent, which is the terrifying hatred that has precipitated since ancient times to the present. Boom boom boom. A 10-tails monster that was so huge that it stunned 5 little ones appeared. This is the second 10 tails in one style. This 10 tails, with a huge one-eyed eye, a fat body, and a human mouth, is extremely strange. I see. Calmly looked at the second 10 tails, Kaguya's tone didn't make any waves. Even carelessly at the 6-star level, there is no possibility of being killed by a few children. You turned 10 tails into data and imprinted it on the wedge, making the monk's body dilapidated. Although you have some of your abilities, you have just performed at most the level of an ordinary ninja. Zuoming's 5 people were taken aback. Is that so? Happy for nothing. We don't care, we just killed the 6 paths class. Go back and pretend to be forceful with Neji and the others. Kagaya said casually. If you guess it right, you control the monk to go to the Imperial capital just to get the concubine out. The existence of Empire makes you feel desperate and have to take risks. Boom. The earth shattered and 10 tails roared. Otsutsuki's voice resented. Desperate? That is hatred that you can't understand. It's all because of you? Do you know how I spent thousands of years? Zuo Ming and others were surprised. Hey, don't move for thousands of years. We are still young and can't stand the scare. Kagaya blinked in confusion and guessed. Could it be that you go to sleep when you eat and eat when you sleep? Puff haha, isn't that a pig? Naruto laughed, tears flying. Sasuke's eyelids twitched. Your heart is so big, you are still laughing here when the big guy speaks. Good, 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 Otsutsuki said 3 in a row, but each time he said 1, the resentment deepened. He will never forget the hand that Kagaya slapped from his back, which directly shattered all his dreams. Lived on Seion for thousands of years. Until now, it has not been able to be resurrected completely, because Seion's body is not suitable for reincarnation and resurrection. The Empire grew stronger. The chances of recovering the fruit and resurrecting are getting slimmer. One style can only take the risk, and once again hit its own data into the second 10 tails, leading Kagaya out. If you can kill Kagaya here, then you can directly recover the chakra fruit and use its body to complete the resurrection. By the time, he is still a proud Otsutsuki. Whether it is to kill the Empire, or turn to the way to cultivate, it is a good choice. Go to hell. The second 10 tails is no longer 10 tails. It has become a one-piece container, and the human and the beast are one. Black coffin. The next moment, multiple huge black cubes appeared out of nowhere, and each one fell like a hill. Quickly, get out of here. Shikamaru yelled. This battle is obviously not something they can participate in. The concubine was disappointed by the boring trick. Looking at the black squares in the sky, Kagaya didn't bother to care about it. This black block, except for being slightly larger, is a hindrance to perception. One style, thousands of years have passed. You not only did not make a little progress, but more and more waste. Kaguya's words suddenly sounded, and as soon as he looked up, Kagaya came to him in an instant. The concubine has prepared a luxurious funeral for you. Heavenly Royal. The scene changed again, and I found myself in a desert space. Not good. He looked up and saw a huge black in front of him, like a block of chaos. A sense of fatal crisis came. Swell truth-seeking ball. After pulling the one-style instant close to the heavenly Imperial center, Kagaya directly used the expanded truth-seeking ball without stopping at all, and put Admiral to the limit of the instant to cover the entire space. Brush. Kagaya turned and disappeared. Real women never watch explosions. Boom, boom, boom. In the second space in the Imperial Palace, everything becomes nothingness in the endless destruction. One formula can't leave TNGU in an instant. Then it can only be destroyed. Kagaya kills one style, it's that simple. Space transfer, throw a bomb and finish, all data will not be left. Brush. Kagaya returned to his original position. Seeing that Kagaya disappeared with 10 tails for an instant, he came back in an instant, as if he had never left. Zuoming's 5 people were dumbfounded. Thinking of what, Bai exclaimed. Master Kagaya, that monster, you solved it? Kagaya glanced strangely. Is there something wrong? A half-dead style. Add a 10 tails that only barks. If it can't be killed instantly, then what is the use of her 7-star strength? Is there anything wrong? Zuo Ming's 5 small children were stunned. How does it sound like you trampled an ant to death at random while walking? Master Kagaya is too haughty. Lord Madara, stand on the side first, let's change to an idol first. Madara. A group of absentees. Your contribution this time is not small. Looking at the 5 small ones, Kagaya opened the space channel and waved his hand. Holy soldiers, keep up. Yes, Master Kagaya. Sasuke, Naruto, Shiro, Shikamaru, Gaara rushed into Yuan immediately. Great credit. Feeling happy, Yi Shi also died. The Shinobi world will be fine for the time being. In the faraway Imperial capital, Lan Yu had multiple pupils in his eyes. Xiao Bai, get ready to start. Yes, Your Majesty. Chapter 184. Lan Yu opens the New World Channel, the main language of the Empire, the most precious dimension Jade. Advertisement with Otsutsuki. 3 people died. The big boss behind the Shell organization also died. It can be said that the Empire nowadays has no internal troubles, and at most occasionally a brain-disabled careerist will occasionally jump out to make some fun for the Empire's holy soldiers. The Empire tends to stabilize when there is no internal trouble. The Empire's eyes began to look outward, the Otsutsuki family. Whether you want to admit it or not, Excluding His Majesty the Emperor of the Holy Empire, the overall strength is definitely not as good as the whole family of Otsutsuki. Then, the conference hall was full. The first speaker was Conan, holding a document and said, "Your Majesty is in retreat. Unless there is a major issue, we need to solve it." Everyone's jaws. The empire is very stable in all aspects, whether it is the military or the imperial government, there are many talents. Can share worries for your majesty to the greatest extent. They are not ordinary kingdoms, you don't need to take care of everything yourself. Try to surpass everything, your majesty. The empire is guarded by us. The empire has basically no internal benefits at present, and it looks calm on the outside, but it deserves every one of us to attach great importance to it. Conan distributed the documents and continued. The universe is very vast, and no one knows how many life planets there are. To put it in disrespect, the empire is still very young. No one refuted this sentence. Only when you can face your own weaknesses can you have the faith to work hard to become stronger. Looked at the file one after another. The above is the information of the Otsutsuki family known by Kaguya, Yishi, Urashi, Peach, and Kim. But it's not complete, it's just basic information. After all, none of them are Otsutsuki seniors. Don't talk about the Otsutsuki family. Then, the first question. How to explore a new planet of life, what should we do when we encounter a planet of life, and how should we deal with the life forms on it? Conan's words made everyone think. The meal needs to be eaten one bite at a time. Before conquering Otsutsuki, take some life planets to practice hands. Uchiha Madara hugged her arms and said, "I went to space many times. If only by flying, even the nearest moon is more than 300,000 kilometers away, and the nearest planet is 500 million kilometers away. That is an unimaginable distance. Yes. Between planets and planets, between stars and stars, between galaxies and galaxies. The distance increases geometrically. Only by flying, you can fly to death and you can't fly to other galaxies. If relying on space movement, jumping, and shuttles, few people present can leave the galaxy where the ninja world is located. Not to mention the large forces exploring the planet of life. But the Empire cannot rely on only a few strong people to support it. The Navy, Land, and Air Forces and the Holy Soldiers lost their meaning. Can technology solve it? Makoto looked at several people in the Academy of Sciences. Empire Technology 080 plus Skyline Technology has enabled Empire to develop many high-speed flying products. Such as sky fortresses, planes, fighter jets, flying aircraft carriers, etc., all amazed everyone in the Empire. For intergalactic issues, flying is definitely not possible, at least space jumping technology is required. In response to everyone's gaze, Orochimaru nudged the gold-wired glasses and said slowly, "Your Majesty once described a spacecraft that can carry a large number of troops, jump or shuttle through space, and sweep the galaxies." Spacecraft. Everyone knows this term. After all, the Empire has tended to modernization, and many movies, literary works, games, etc. are explosions of fantastic ideas. There are works of science fiction. Spaceships are often mentioned. Jiraiya was speechless. Is the Academy of Sciences so powerful? Do you have any technology that can kill me? If so, please keep it. Orochimaru didn't bother to talk to Jiraiya, and continued. Spaceships, like spiritual nuclear weapons, are currently only frameworks, and it will take a lot of time to complete. Spirit nuclear weapon. When it comes to spiritual nuclear weapons, everyone's heart jumped. That is a terrifying weapon that destroys the souls of all living bodies in a huge range, but it does not cause damage to everything except the soul. It is a weapon of soul purification. Hashirama was curious. How long does it take to complete the spaceship? Under normal circumstances, it will last for as little as 50 years, and as long as there is no upper limit. Seeing everyone's eyelids twitching, Orochimaru said powerfully, "Technology is not science fiction, just think about it. My fantasy creation is not enough to create things that I can't understand. There are too few data at present." But, everyone cheered up. Orochimaru looked at Osamuheim. Little sister's ability can improve the efficiency of scientific research. If nothing else, it can be developed within 10 or 20 years. I can make deductions. Ochiji simply said, holy text, deduction. It's not the kind of predicting the future or calculating fate. There is no fixed ability characteristic. Fighting, all possible means and strengths of the opponent can be deduced, so as to carry out targeted processing. Learning. You can perform deduction based on the data to supplement the content that is most suitable for your understanding and engrave it in the memory for continuous deduction. Scientific research. The countless possibilities of evolutionary development can be promoted for things, so as to choose the best and evolve to the limit. At least, a dozen years? Everyone does not think this time is long. It has been in a safe period for more than 10 years. After all, if the Otsutsuki clan sends people again, it will still investigate the trio and the reason for the duo's loss of contact. It is impossible to directly descend, AHFH, adding up various factors. If you wait for the whole clan to come, it may be thousands of years. It is impossible for the Empire to waste all time on the Otsutsuki clan. It can be developed while becoming stronger. Explore new world as you go. The concubine knows the coordinates of several life planets, which were recorded when they came. Kaguya's words aroused the audience's attention, and only listened to her continue. While everyone is working hard to study space spirituality and the Academy of Sciences is working hard to develop spacecraft, the concubine can take a group of people to see other life planets first. For the Empire, accumulate some experience. Everyone's eyes were bright. Everyone is interested in other planets. After all, for so many years, everyone has basically been to the places where Ninja World can go. Those who didn't go were not interested. Other planets are full of unknowns and freshness. Kushina immediately raised her hand, full of interest. Sister Kaguya, I am the first to sign up. I want to go, I want to go. Her fame spread all over the empire. It's time to go to the new world to announce the arrival. Kaguya chuckled and said, don't worry, we are waiting for the empire to stabilize for 2 years. The most important thing is to report to your majesty. Everyone's forehead. Large forces are going to cross the planet, and it must be a major event. Must be reported. Kaguya continued, there is another main problem. The languages of many planets are different, and communication is very troublesome. Language barrier? Everyone was stunned, they hadn't considered this issue yet. If the languages of the 2 planets are unfamiliar, then 330 will be even more unreasonable. Tsunade made a fist and Haki said, fist is the last word. If we win them, then they must speak our language, otherwise they're heretics. Thinking of what, Minato admired. Your Majesty is really far-sighted. He has thought of this a long time ago, so starting from the first year of the Empire, he established the main language and promoted it on a large scale. The main language is set. From now on, no matter how many planets, how many worlds, and how many races, you will speak the main language. That would be much more convenient. Everyone can't help but admire Lan Yu, who is in retreat. Your Majesty is really great wisdom. Lan Yu, you finally realized it. Schools everywhere have been built a few years ago. Except for the big families and the Yuyin Village school, there was no education-related industry in the former ninja world. This leads to, there are many illiterate people in the ninja world. Too many illiterate. So the Empire carried out a literacy campaign, mainly from the new generation. Over the years, the Empire has carried out some reforms, the biggest of which is language. What is the strong? Do whatever you want. Since the Empire is mostly illiterate, and the Empire was founded by Lan Yu, why not write the Empire as you like? Popularize Chinese. Lan Yu likes it. Do whatever you like, whatever you want. The first batch of children born in the Empire, from the first year to the 10th year of the Empire. All of the lessons learned when entering the team are Chinese. The main reason is, different planets, different worlds, different races. There must be language barriers. Can you imagine that kind of scenes where you say mine, I say yours, all kinds of screaming and screaming? Lan Yu firmly put an end to this situation. In order to avoid too many worlds to be conquered in the future, the language will be chaotic. Then it must be determined. The main language. What is the main language? The main language that the people of the Empire must know. After all, there are more worlds. Advertisement, can't you say mine, I say yours. Determine the main language. Lan Yu doesn't need to think too much. Only Chinese is the most suitable. Though soul-wearing, Lan Yu doesn't care what they think. But Lan Yu is wearing it. Wearing it. Unforgettable Yanwang. Chinese is the most convenient. To be able to create such a broad and profound text, your Majesty's talent is far inferior to your concubine. When it comes to the main language Chinese, Kaguya is always so emotional. The concubine read hundreds of thousands of books. I thought she was wise enough, but compared with your Majesty, it's far worse. Lan Yu. Thinking too much, I am not good enough to create Chinese. Lan Yu didn't explain anything. With so many worlds, one day you may encounter a world where the main language is Chinese. Then they will understand. Chinese is far broader and deeper than they thought. For example, FK, Yahiko, how do you write your Chinese characters so beautifully? Glancing to the side what Yahiko was writing in Chinese characters, Gui Zhao blurted out a slumber. Yahiko turned by Kugan. How many times have you said it? Let you read more books, don't be silly all day, you are very illiterate, don't you know? The ghost and snake look dangerous, isn't it right? FK. But the hot word in the past 2 years, very popular in the Empire. Kakuzu suffocated the word, FK, coughing lightly, what should I say? Without waiting for Yahiko to speak, White Zetsu said lightly, it should be said that the Chinese characters written by Yahiko, Bunker, Awesome 666. Everyone. White Zetsu, you sand sculpture. Time flies. Another 2 years. The popularization of the main language, Chinese, has gone further. At least the new generation is the main language spoken, and it will be fully popularized as time goes by. And in a room in the Pure Land, Lan Yu opened his eyes, and a ray of surprise flashed through. So that's it, what I thought before was too troublesome, and it was extremely difficult to achieve. Hōgyoku, who came across countless time and space, didn't know what it had absorbed, it was not the one in the impression. The power has no limits. Over the years, Lan Yu has been working hard to explore New World, the real New World. Was unable to do anything, but Hōgyoku gave Lan Yu a great surprise. He was also confused. How can you look at Hōgyoku with primitive eyes? Can your Hōgyoku jump from the Shinigami world to the Shinigami world? Of course not. That is a completely different dimension. But I don't know what kind of mighty influence he was affected by, crossing layers of time and space, and fusing with Lan Yu. This Hōgyoku is not that one long ago, it's just called Hōgyoku. It can be understood as materialized, completely controlled by Lan Yu, system. Alternative version of the system, it has only been fully activated now. It is wrong to say that it is an alternative version of the system. It should be said that it is affected by the unknown mighty force and absorbs the treasure of countless time and space data. The name Hōgyoku, not worthy of it now? God Jade? World Stone? Time and space pearl? Well, the name is not important. Lan Yu knew that he was weak in naming. The specific level, Lan Yu is still unclear, but only at this moment is a small layer of veil unraveled. It's that small layer, it was enough to amaze Lan Yu. The main thing. Lan Yu only found out today. Hōgyoku. It records all the time and space coordinates of the world that it has crossed. Countless complete world coordinates, and has the ability to assist Lan Yu to open. Across the endless time and space, I don't know how many times the treasure has evolved, I underestimated you. Lan Yu looked at the luminous gem in his hand. The completely activated gemstone has changed from the original purple-black color to the sacred color, and it is unclear whether it is gold or white. It is not so much that Hōgyoku has evolved countless times. It's better to say that it is some kind of treasure, which has absorbed the power of Hōgyoku. Lan Yu thought so. This is the right answer. When the treasure crossed time and space, it passed by the Shinigami world and passed by Hōgyoku. Absorbed, or learned its abilities, and evolved out of it. Yhwach's ability has also been evolved by it. Lan Yu inherited, not Hōgyoku and Quincy. Instead, at that time he could only inherit these basic things. Only now is it officially activated. There are countless powers waiting for Lan Yu to inherit, merge, and sublimate. What a surprise. Owning this treasure has saved a lot of things for Lan Yu. Containing the power of Hōgyoku, the top treasure. Among them, Wily, because it is too tyrannical, I don't know how many layers of self-sealing. Lan Yu unlocked the first layer, it is enough for now. Collapse. As soon as Lan Yu said a word, the gem quivered. Don't like the name after unsealing a layer? Or is it not called by this name? Since it may be some kind of treasure that has absorbed the power of Hōgyoku, then call you Dimensional Jade. Whether it sounds good or not. That's what Lan Yu decided. Anyway, it is countless times stronger than weak Jade. Come, help me, open the world channel. Lan Yu randomly chose a world coordinate recorded by Dimensional Jade. Inject energy and prepare to light up the world coordinates. Failed. Seeing that the coordinates are not bright and there is no space channel, Lan Yu raised his brows slightly. It suddenly dawned on me. It seems that the world he just experimented with was very strong and very strong. He can't open it now. That's good, too strong to open, then step by step. Sooner or later, one day, I'll open. Next. Lan Yu experimented with dozens of world coordinates, and several of them responded, but there was still no space channel. No hurry, Lan Yu has time. Buzz, when a world coordinate lights up. When a space-time channel appears, all of Lan Yu's blood began to boil. The heavens and myriad worlds, I am here. Send a clone to try first. To be cautious, GNU still sent a clone, but Lan Yu didn't worry too much. Since he can rely on Dimensional Jade to open the passage of this world, it proves that this world is not too scary. Although Dimensional Jade has no clear consciousness, but instinctively has been protecting him, the open world is definitely suitable for the current Lan Yu. All the Empire, prepare for war. Lan Yu's words cleansed up the Imperial capital, and Madara and others were surprised, and immediately became enthusiastic. Yes, Your Majesty. After speaking, Lan Yu's clone entered first. New world, here I am, P.S. New world is open, and I am in a mood. Every time New World is opened, the subscription is mad, and the author has eaten the soil for many days. Here, I ask for a wave of support. Chapter 1. The gods decide to destroy all mankind. Lan Yu comes. Advertisement Earth. The human history lasted 710,000 years. It is about to end now. The reason is neither the outbreak of nuclear war nor the invasion of alien life forms. It's not even an asteroid hitting the Earth. Human beings at the moment. Under the will of God, the creator of mankind, he is welcoming the end of destruction. Mankind, waiting for trial. Skyline, in a corridor outside the hall. Two women, one big and one small, were staring at this place. It's finally starting. Sister Hild. The girl with light purple short hair has a nervous and worried tone. The other has long black hair and a white uniform, just like a heroic female general. The girl's name is Grey, the woman's name is Brunhild. The two women are the Valkyries of the heavens. There are 13 Valkyrie sisters in total. Hild is the eldest sister and Grey is the youngest. Inside the Chamber of Valor Hall, a terrible meeting is taking place. Discussing content that is enough to make all mankind angry and frightened. Hild did not speak, and calmly walked to the chamber. Grey's heart jumped and quickly followed. Valhalla Council, Chamber. It is also the Council of the Hall of Valor, the Council Hall. Look down. This is a hall full of majesty and splendor, and the periphery is filled with circles of various creatures. Humanoid and animal-like. More grotesque, there are no less than thousands of them. And the center of the hall, there is a dark red western dragon. Surrounded by a huge seat lying on the ground. On the seat, sat an old man who looked dying, with a thin body and white eyebrows and white beard. The old man's name is Zeus, the main god of Greek mythology, the king of the gods. Standing beside him was a man in a suit, one of the 12 Olympus gods, Hermes. Those sitting on the periphery are all creatures claiming to be gods. Meeting of the gods. Once in 1,000 years, gods from all over the world gather together to convene. The conference on the survival of mankind. Boom. Zeus took a mallet and knocked off the high platform. Suddenly, there was silence. Everyone, 1,000 years have passed since the last meeting, so let's start that meeting now. Zeus's voice was old, and he spoke in a hurry, without any emotional color. A meeting on the survival of mankind conducted by the gods of the world. So Zeus gave the gods two choices at this moment. Is it allowed for human beings to exist in the next 1,000 years? Or, what about giving the end? The gods, show our will. Words of Zeus. How cruel to humans. The life and death of all mankind is extremely cheap in this meeting of the gods. End. Direct destruction. Survive, continue to exist for the next 1,000 years? The cruel choice of mankind was placed before the gods bloody. But the gods laughed. Sneer, ridicule, sneer. Few gods care about humans here, but many gods are full of disdain and aversion to humans. Okay, let it be the end. A lazy word sounded, and the gods saw that it was a man with curly hair all over his body and 4 hands. He casually lay on a mat in the front row, holding a sign that represents the end. One of the 3 main gods of India, the god of destruction and creation, Shiva. Shiva held up the sign and said calmly, in my opinion, human beings have no intention of introspection for this 1,000 years. Just destroy it all. For a while, the gods laughed more cruelly. It is true that Lord Shiva said, the world has become more and more uglier over the past 1,000 years. There was a voice, and when the gods saw it, many gods murmured their greed and evil desires. It was the goddess in the hearts of many gods who spoke. Dressed extremely boldly, with azure blue eyes, golden curly hair with small flowers, the whole person is glowing again, exuding the ultimate feminine charm. The god of love and beauty, Aphrodite, the god of love, the god of beauty, symbolizes the perfection of women. Her beauty is like the twinkling light of Baman. Deeply attracted the gods. The ocean is full of garbage and oil, the forest is destroyed, and other creatures are gradually extinct. Aphrodite was dragged by 2 stone sculptures, calmly telling what he had seen and heard. If you really want to say it, mankind is the disaster that destroys the earth. Her words immediately aroused the resonance and anger of the gods. Aphrodite is right, those guys are completely poisoned. Yes, I'm tired of guiding them. Let mankind be destroyed, give the end. Give the end. The gods yelled one by one. Soon, they all raised the sign representing the end, which was a blood-red cross. The gods have decided to destroy mankind, so far. It is already a situation that no one can stop. In this way, a conclusion has been reached, so this conference on the survival of mankind unanimously agreed to give humanity the end. Zeus slowly raised the hammer, ready to make a final decision, and slammed it down fiercely. Please wait a minute. The sudden shout made Zeus stagnate. The drop hammer stopped abruptly. All the gods looked angered together. What's wrong? Who? Isn't this the Valkyrie? Seeing Hild appearing at the door of the chamber, the expressions of the gods were different. Many gods have recognized it. The head of the 13 Valkyrie. Facing the gazes of the gods, Grey couldn't help panicking. My sister, what are you doing? Actually, you stopped the decision of the gods. Hild did not answer. Looking directly at the gods, he said seriously, forgive me, but I have a proposal for the gods. Advertisement, get out of Brunhild *2. As soon as Hild finished speaking, 2 cold drinks sounded from the conference hall. Grey looked at it in astonishment. What they said was the 2 pigeons standing on the shoulders of Odin, the highest god of Northern Europe, one black and the other white. Bai Jie mocked. You are just a demigod. Heijie Shuzhong disdainfully said. Who allowed you to interrupt the discussion of the gods? Do you want to fight? Come on. Before the Lord God takes action, we will be your opponent. Hild directly ignored and was very calm. It is true that we cannot ignore the tyranny of human beings. The 2 pigeons were furious. It was ignored. But, simply destroying them, it's too unartistic. Hild's words attracted the attention of the gods and looked directly at the gods. How do you feel that you can show the compassion and kamui of the gods to test whether mankind will continue to exist in the next 1,000 years? Hear, hear. The 2 pigeons on Odin's shoulders spoke immediately. Behi sneered. Test them? We'll flood the earth again? Heijie said. Or enter the ice age ahead of schedule and freeze them to death. Do not. Refuting the words of the 2 pigeons, Hild said calmly. There is a more effective way. The gods and mankind finally fight. Heaven's myth. Wow. Fleeting. The gods are in vain. Zeus, Shiva, god of beauty, Odin, etc. There was silence. It seems to suspect that I heard it wrong. A book appeared in Hild's hand. Article 62 of the Constitution of the Hall of Valor, Article 15 of the Ultra Special Regulations, gods and humans fight 1-on-1. 0. Gods and mankind finally fight law. Send representatives of gods and people. 13 gods, duel, 13 people. The side that wins 7 wins first wins. If mankind loses 7 times, it will be decided to perish. If they win, they will continue to survive for 1,000 years. But this regulation has not been used once since the birth of mankind. Because the gods are cognizing, mankind defeated God? It is impossible. It can be said that this regulation is just a joke of the gods. Hey, it's a waste of time to compare. Yes, it's not even a game. Why should we be human opponents? That's stupid. For a moment, the gods sneered. Let them fight humans, this Valkyrie is crazy. Except for a few gods, they were calm. The other gods are mocking the Valkyrie. So, Hild spoke again with a sharp tone. The gods want to exterminate mankind, so as to avoid direct fighting with mankind? This shouldn't be. I'm just guessing. Hild held his chin in his hand as if lost in thought. Then he suddenly raised his head, his tone suddenly raised. 0. 0. Are you scared? This sentence. The explosion sounded in the hall, reverberating constantly. For an instant, the audience is silent. Hild German was so angry and deliberately sorry. If that's the case, then I'm really nosy. Please don't pay attention to what I just said, forget about Ragnarok. This kind of veiled mocking tone, Gray was stunned. Sister, we'll be beaten to death by the gods, right? The gods are silent and Gray feels cold inside. Hee. Ha 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 ha. After a moment of silence, each of the gods laughed and laughed extremely cruelly. Many gods even crushed the stone table. Extreme anger filled the hearts of the gods. Sure enough, Hild remained calm. She was quite sure that gods are more prone to anger than human beings. The radical method is absolutely effective for the gods. So that's it, is it the fairyland legend? Zeus also laughed, vaguely cruel. This proposal is very interesting, thank you for it. How do you feel, do you want to see it after a long time? The thunderous fury of the gods, overwhelming violence. Having said that, Zeus stood up and opened his hands full of expectation. How is it? Everyone. Let us, the gods and humans, compete with each other. Yo. The final word. All the gods laughed cruelly and cheered. For them, it will be a game of crushing everything, and they will tear human beings to pieces. At this moment, the audience fell silent. It turned out to be such a world, you can explain it to me. What is God? Waste, ants, people. The sudden sound of majesty blasted the entire hall. Boom. The sound unexpectedly swelled layers of air in the void, and instantly overturned many gods to the ground. And there is an unspeakable momentum. In the entire hall, it was extremely tyrannical and swept over the gods. The void is twisting and neighing, this momentum. Unscrupulous, lawless, take everything off, the Valkyrie is shocked. The gods are shocked. Peas. Many translations of manga and animation are different. Like the fairyland in the animation, in the comics it is the dusk of the gods. Anime. The final Valkyrie. What you haven't read doesn't affect reading, righteous. Chapter 2. Trampling on the dignity of the gods, Odin, the Norse king, death. Advertisement. This momentum is impossible, drag and drop the cool Shiva. At this moment, the whole body fell off the mat, rolled a circle on the ground. Extremely embarrassed, the look was horrified, completely lose the dignity of God. But there is no god to laugh at him, because they are all struggling to bear the terrible pressure. Their gods and spirits seem to be carrying the mountains. Oh, it's terrible. The god of love and beauty, Aphrodite screamed, her face turned pale. The whole body was shaking. Somewhere the amplitude is huge, very dazzling. The gods should be drunk, but the gods looked around in disbelief. Chi. Terrible coercion. It constantly caused the wailing of the void, and set off a terrible wave of air that made God's heart palpitating in the hall. Tear. Black and red lightning mingled in the airwave, flashing across the audience in a flash, causing many gods to make an uncontrollable sound of pain. Oh. Many weak gods. His face was distorted like a ghost. The body was covered with dark cracks, and they seemed to have entered hell and were tortured. Space. Space is distorted. The main gods such as Zeus and Odin looked at the distorted space in disbelief. Is it just the influence of momentum? How can this be? It's going to die, my sister. Gray hugged Hild tightly, her tears fell, and her heart was full of fear. Too frightening. Could it be that the god of creation descended? The 087 is really incredible. Hild, the head of the Valkyrie, stopped in place. This momentum. It's definitely not human. That is to say, some unknown god? If there is such a terrifying god, what is the significance of the fairyland legend she proposed? Then what did she use to resist the gods? This is God. It really disappoints me. Kneel. Boom. When the majestic and domineering voice sounded again. The horror suddenly increased. There is no limit to the general cover. Boom. In an instant, tyrant's coercion swept the audience. All tables and chairs in the entire hall are directly turned into powder, which makes the scalp of all gods numb. Thump thump. The gods cannot contend. All gods are on the ground. Like a wisp of breeze, all coercion suddenly dissipated. Now, the audience was silent. Zeus was sluggish, Odin was shocked, Shiva was frightened, and the goddess of beauty cried in fright. They turned out to be irresistible, kneeling on the ground. This is the most incredible thing that has never happened since the gods were born countless years. They will lose, they will die, but they have never had it. This number shattered all their arrogance, and there is a kind of panic that is indescribable in any words. Answer my previous question. What is God? Immortal, all-knowing and all-powerful? Create all things? With the sound purging, the ultimate, sacred light appeared out of thin air. Or, just like you, it's just a slightly stronger strand of ants. The divine light illuminates the main hall. A gorgeous throne is condensed in the void. The moment they saw the throne, the gods felt that they were not worthy to sit on. Brush. When a stalwart figure appeared, and sit down the moment. An unspeakable invisible power burst into the hearts of the gods, terrified. How? What? Zeus murmured for a long time, his voice dry. He had lived for hundreds of millions of years, but he couldn't find any word to describe the man on the throne. 3 words on the front. Too perfect. The 3 words on the reverse side. Great terror. It is full of majesty that is unattainable by the gods, exudes the nobility that the gods can't be beautiful, and shows the dominance that the gods can't match. What the hell is he? The Valkyrie Hild looked in a trance. As a demigod, she has a clearer understanding of humans. The moment I saw Lan Yu, she actually had the idea that the other party was a human, even a human of the Yhwach family, which made her unbelievable. Puff cough. A god wanted to stand up, and he vomited blood suddenly. At this time, the gods were surprised to find out. All the space around them was frozen, 1 point for every move. The space will shrink by 1 point. Their bodies will be ruined. It can only be so humiliating, kneeling, if you can't answer my question. Then, the gods will end. Lan Yu's indifferent words sounded, making the gods arouse. This tone is so familiar. Isn't it the tone of their ruthless indifference to humans before? Because humans look to them like ants, but at the moment, they feel. In front of this man, there are also ants. This feeling, it is difficult for the gods to adapt. Boom. Suddenly, the wall of the main hall was broken open, and a god holding a trident walked slowly. Not every god is here. For example, this one came only after feeling coercion. Ah, it's the sea god. The eyes of the gods rolled and looked at Poseidon, with anticipation in their eyes. Go on, great sea god, the heaviest blow to this unknown guy. Take out your Poseidon trident, stabbed in anger. Close the door and release the sea god. What a proud god Poseidon is. Since birth, even his elder brother has never looked at him. So, Poseidon did not see the gods' expecting gaze at all. Nor will he look straight at the gods. As if nothing happened just now, Poseidon came coldly and said coldly. Gods don't gather together. God does not plot. God does not rely on others. This is the so-called God. It was a perfect existence from the beginning. Holding the Poseidon trident, Poseidon raised his head indifferently, looking directly at Lan Yu with his cold eyes. Advertisement, however, he did not do it, in a flash. In Poseidon's fantasy battle simulation, he attacked countless times. However, he also died countless times. That kind of gap is very different. He couldn't break through the other side's terrifying imposing barrier at all. For the arrival and answer of Poseidon, reluctantly. Lan Yu doesn't comment because what he said makes sense. Poseidon is probably the most godlike god here, and Sol and so on, not here either. Let's play a game. I named it, Twilight of the Gods. Lan Yu's words made the hearts of the gods tense. You choose 13 gods, and I choose 13 human beings for one-on-one duels. The winner lives, the loser dies. If you lose 7 games, I will start the dusk of the gods, slaughter the gods, and the gods will end. If you win 7 games, can linger for 1,000 years. Call. The gods are all dumbfounded. Isn't this the final plan of their previous struggle against mankind? But now, completely reversed, it was supposed that mankind was defeated in 7 battles, and all mankind was extinct. If mankind beats 7 games, it can exist for another 1,000 years. These are 2 kinds, and they seem to be the same. The result is completely different. Because of the previous plan, even if God lost 7 games, it had no effect on the gods. At most, only 7 gods died, but now, 7 defeats, the gods are all destroyed. They finally realized it. What is human despair and anger? This is not fair. The gods wanted to say these 4 words. But that's too shameless, they still want face. You are not a god? The god of love and beauty, Aphrodite exclaimed. The gods were in a trance. Yes, if the opponent is a god, he would never make such a frenzied comparison plan. What good is killing God to him? Human. You are a human of the Yhwach family. Odin, who was wearing a blindfold in his left eye, flashed a ray of disdain in his right eye, and said what the Valkyrie Hild wanted to say. Odin was sure that he was right. The Yhwach line is very special. It is quite different from other human races. Take out your strength. Lan Yu directly freed Odin's imprisonment. This sentence made Odin full of confusion. Is he to fight? The gods were startled, did not understand at all. Why do you want to fight Odin suddenly? But the gods look forward to. Go on, Odin. Defeat this human. The momentum and space imprisonment just now must be an unknown trick of human beings from nowhere. After releasing the imprisonment, the 2 pigeons on Odin's shoulder exploded with anger. The white pigeon was angry. You damn human being, let the main gods kneel down. The black pigeon disdain. Master Odin, let's go together and kill him. Odin felt a little rumbling. These 2 idiots, you cheat me. In that case, let's fight. The dignity of God cannot be trampled, especially human beings. Boom. Odin suddenly clenched his fist, which directly caused a great wave. Many gods are palpitating and even more excited. That's amazing, you deserve to be Lord Odin. Yes, such a powerful fist cannot be resisted by humans at all. Ooh, Lord Odin is my idol. This punch, hundreds of millions of years of supernatural power, mankind will die. All the gods were laughing excitedly. The Valkyrie Hild couldn't help showing her gaze at the idiot. These gods are extremely stupid, you all knelt on the ground. Where is the qualification to say these things? The gods knelt and looked forward to Odin's salvation, full of ridiculous, sad, and shameful. Hundreds of millions of years of supernatural power, Lan Yu suddenly discovered a ridiculous fact. Do these gods have any misunderstandings about power? In other words, they won't necessarily win if they fight humans for a long time. Also worthy of being called a god? Die. Odin smashed the floor and jumped into the air instantly, hitting Lan Yu with a violent punch. The two pigeons also spread their wings, flew towards Lan Yu very quickly. Space obliterates. Lan Yu raised his eyes slightly. Boom. Under the shocking eyes of the gods, the void above was instantly shattered and dense black cracks appeared. Not good. Odin's expression changed drastically. The cracked space seemed to have turned into a terrifying beast, screaming at him with its fangs open. Nowhere to hide. The space rift spread to Odin in an instant. 5.7 Odin roared in pain. In an instant, the whole body cracked and the blood mist swayed. Those two pigeons are even broken into pieces. Why? Why kill me? The dying Odin finally roared unwillingly. With so many gods present, he is not the ugliest one, why kill him? Odin couldn't figure it out, he only said a word from beginning to end. Because when you mentioned the humans of Yhwach, there is disdain in the eyes, with Lan Yu's indifferent voice falling. Boom. The space cracks turned into black holes. Swallowing Odin directly, there is no scum left behind and strangled into nothingness. Odin, the highest god of Northern Europe, die, Guru. The gods are terrified. Seconds. Kill Odin in seconds. Killed just because of a wisp of disdain. How overbearing this is. The great cause of killing the gods. The Valkyrie Hild was completely shocked. From now on, the countdown to the destruction of the gods. 3 days later, the game started. Wait, the end of the gods. Leaving a word, Lan Yu and the throne dissipated in place. This human being will trample on the dignity of God. After trampling, please him, step on them all to death again? The space imprisonment disappeared. The gods fell into a dead silence. Chapter 3:13 Valkyrie Sisters, Fate linked by Warrant. Advertisement, those just are gods? Fake it, isn't God very strong? God, such a noble title. Ahem. Perhaps, it's just a racial name. For example, the canine family all call themselves dogs. Madara, Hashirama, Jiraiya and other empires all spoke, with wonderful expressions. At the meeting of the gods discussing the survival of mankind, a projection fell on the Imperial chamber, which was a live broadcast by Lan Yu for the Imperial elite. Live the meeting of the gods. From the beginning of the meeting, to the arrival of Lan Yu, to the death of Odin, everyone in the empire could see clearly. Also heard clearly. I have to say that those gods judge all mankind indifferently and ruthlessly, making everyone very angry. Especially that what Ragnarok plan, it seems to give mankind a chance. But in fact, it is still humiliating human beings. Because even if mankind wins, it will only fight for 1,000 more years of survival. The gods over there, even if we lose, nothing will happen. Absolutely unfair. His Majesty Hokage. Thinking of your Majesty's revised plan for the evening of the gods, the blood of the empire began to boil. Are you not gods? Don't you look down on humans? Now, if you lose the battle, slaughter all the gods and give the gods the end. And humans. Even if you lose the battle, it's okay. Directly reverse the result. Reversely trample on the dignity of God. After trampling, completely open the dusk of the gods. Kushina murmured. Although the gods are very passionate at dusk, why'd I feel that those gods are a little weak? God. It shouldn't be. When the galaxy collapses at the first glance, the universe collapses with anger, the time flows backwards when you raise your hand, and everything is created when you fall into it. But Odin just punched that. Except for the strength, there is no bright spot. Can't even escape the broken space, can't make 07 open? Don't be a god, isn't even a false god? Incredible. You burst into a star anyway. The performance is really not strong, maybe there is no explosion of supernatural power, right? Makoto said so, then shook his head. There is nothing to explain, but a group of false gods. Madara hugged her arms and said, what I want to know now is, your Majesty said to choose 13 humans, who would you choose? Yes. Who does your Majesty choose? Everyone looked at each other, and there were more than 13 people sitting. Don't think about it, I already have a plan. As the words came, Lan Yu appeared in the chamber. His Majesty, free courtesy. Lan Yu motioned everyone to sit down. He took back his avatar and basically understood the situation of New World. In general, some accidents. Surprisingly, the names of those gods are louder than one, and they can scare people to death. But, it's just the same name. Myths are myths after all, and it is impossible for mythical characters in every world to have the same strength. For example, Bullet Saints, Bomb Saints, Starburst Saints, Multiverse Saints, etc. These are certainly not of one world. Even if the names are the same, they are not the same person. Coincidentally, these gods of New World are not very strong. The strongest is around the 5-star Super Shadow, and in some aspects it can have the level of 6 paths. Hashirama was curious. Your Majesty, who do you choose to trample on the gods? Everyone looked over and looked forward to it. Lan Yu calmly said, I won't choose from you. Even if you choose, you can choose 1 or 2 at most. What? Everyone was startled. If you don't let us go, who will let us go? The Otsutsuki family. Kaguya's blushing eyes flickered, and he said a little affirmatively, you guys, think about it. Your Majesty will definitely not let humans lose. Then, after winning 7 games, some gods will let you kill. Everyone understands. Yes, why are they clinging to the dozen or so gods? The remaining at least a few thousand are enough for them to fight. Even if none of them are on, in the end, it can kill the gods until they vomit. So here comes the problem. Who on earth to choose? Lan Yu seemed to be thinking about something. After a while, he said, the earth of that world, the history of 710,000 years of mankind. Isn't it easy to select a few representatives? Won the competition. All the empire, start the dusk of the gods. Good idea. Everyone's eyes lit up. Select representatives from the long history of mankind. They only need to watch a few battles before they can conquer the whole country in the heavens. Who should I choose? Lan Yu was lost in thought. There are too many talents in the long history of the earth. Lan Yu fell into it. Difficult choice disorder, skyline. Fallen into silence and shock, the noble gods suddenly became a disadvantaged group. But mankind has risen directly. Which god can bear it? Especially the death of Odin made the Nordic gods angry like fierce beasts. Can't wait to hit the earth now, kill all humans. Stop it all. In the end, it was stopped by Zeus. Before I knew Lan Yu's specific information, he would just go to death. What is needed now is to unite all the power of God. While preparing the battle plan, while looking for the power, artifact, etc. that can fight against Lan Yu. God is angry. Naturally, God laughed. Ha 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 ha. The Valkyrie Hild, who is usually cold, laughed unscrupulously in the hall at this moment. There is no demeanor of a Valkyrie. Advertisement. Gray was puzzled and panicked. My sister, aren't you afraid of that human being killed? He is terrible, really terrible. Speaking of Lan Yu, Hild put a smile away. His expression was extremely complicated. She mentioned Ragnarok before. Just to kill the gods, she was on the side of humans. Even do a good job of sacrificing sisters, even sacrificing their own preparations. But Lan Yu's arrival, suddenly there was a big reversal on the human side. But, Hild thought, I had planned it, and I was the first one to put Lu Bu on the field. Lu Bu. Lu Fengxian. Gray's eyes widened, and she was shocked. My sister, that man is too dangerous, but he has claimed the lives of countless people, and he is also calling for a man who is boring in life. Speaking of this, Gray is full of puzzlement. Even if Lu Feng is the strongest general in the 3 kingdoms, is it possible that he has beaten the gods? Gods. Represents absolute strength. Hild said seriously, of course it's impossible. Of course, impossible. Gray was stunned. Why did her sister choose Lu Fengxian? Hild said affirmatively. The gods possess absolutely powerful power, which comes from the weapons they cultivated in the heavens. In contrast, a weapon made by humans is no different from a toy, and it breaks when you hit it. Looking at the stunned little girl in cold sweat, Hild whispered, Gray, it is impossible for a human to beat a god. Gray was startled, immediately prepared to refute. I know you want to say that the man is a great cause when he is done, but he is an exception. Hild directly excluded Lan Yu. Gray was extremely decadent. Then this time, humans will lose. Yes, it is a battle that will undoubtedly be lost. Although Hild said so, he laughed. Even if Lan Yu is there, she would still say that. After all, Lan Yu can't play 7 games by himself, and the rest, no matter who it is, can't defeat the gods. But Hild has his own preparations. On the other hand, what if mankind has the weapon of God? Hild's words kept Gray busy. Yes, only a magical weapon can fight a magical weapon. This is Hild's plan. Create artifacts for mankind. Then you have the qualifications to fight against the gods. What is that? In Gray's consternation, green lights appeared in the void ahead, forming a spatial passage in a blink of an eye. My sister, have you summoned us? 11 beautiful landscapes slowly descended. By order of eldest sister Brunhild, we, 11 Valkyrie gathering here. The headed woman with long orange hair and a long skirt smiled slowly. Valkyrie 4th. Randy Grace, it's sisters. In Gray's surprise, she was astonished. Our 13 sisters gathered together for the first time. Sisters, what are you going to do? Gray is like a little girl who knows nothing. That's because she was too young. Hild and other 12 sisters did not want her to understand the pain of sacrifice too soon. If human beings don't have artifacts, there is no way to defeat the gods. Especially Thor's hammer, crushing everything. For humans, that is cheating, and the Valkyrie hope that mankind will win. Even if you give your life, you don't hesitate to do it. The magical tool is made, fate is connected, warned, isn't it? At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. The look of the Valkyrie 13 sisters changed. Male voice. The home of their Valkyrie. It is impossible for men to come here. It's him. Hearing this voice, Gray shivered a lot. Hild was also very dignified and couldn't help becoming nervous. Randy Grace was stunned. Who is it? Grace exclaimed. Sister Grace, it's a human being, the human who killed Lord Odin. What? The 11 Valkyries were shocked and all became alert. Hild shook his head slightly. It's useless, facing that man, whatever you do is useless. Brush. The gorgeous throne appears. Lan Yu sat down calmly. There was no coercion, but the invisible power emanating made the 13 Valkyrie sisters hold their breath. Are you planning to let all the Valkyrie sisters use secret techniques to turn their bodies into divine weapons to help humans defeat the gods? With that said, Lan Yu looked strangely at Hild. Warned. Valkyrie's special ability. Turn the body into the most suitable artifact for mankind, and destiny is connected. If humans die, the Valkyrie with connected destiny will also die. It can be said that they are using their lives to help mankind. How did you know? Hild couldn't help being shocked. It was known to others before it started. If the gods knew before the battle, the 13 sisters would definitely be torn apart by the gods. Because the Valkyrie is rebelling against the gods. My sister, is this true? Grey was even more shocked. How could sisters do this? There are so many gods. Even if you kill a few gods, it has no effect. Except for you, there is only this way for mankind to defeat God. Hild raised his head and said firmly, the remaining 11 Valkyries are equally firm and ready to sacrifice. Only death, the Valkyrie is not afraid. Yes, Lan Yu is non-committal. The difference between physique and artifact, these are just minor obstacles. Lan Yu glanced at the 13 sisters and spoke plainly. Take me to meet the human spirits, and I will choose representatives to participate in the war. If it is not enough, I will go to the earth to find it myself. Hild was startled and did not object. She felt that the other party was very dissatisfied with the human representative she planned. Of course Lan Yu is not satisfied, except for Lu Biyu and Emperor Shi Huang, a few are very good. The rest are like that Jack the Ripper. Even if you defeat the gods, you are still a scumbag. Chapter 4. Across the long river of time, looking for human representatives to participate in the war. Advertisement, this is the human representative you chose? In the hall, Lan Yu looked at the green projection screens in front of him. Each photo is a representative of human beings carefully selected by the Valkyrie Hild. Is there anything wrong? Hild lowered his head slightly, his heart full of madness. It was another tone that contained dissatisfaction in the plane, which was overturning the fruits of her labor. Valkyrie work. Soul transporter. They descended on the earth and selected the strongest human souls to bring them to the heaven. Prepare for the coming celestial crisis. Turn these souls into divine soldiers. However, the gods are also not clear. What is the crisis that the Valkyries are dealing with? Hild said seriously. Although there are still many powerful souls, only the fighters who resonate with this can turn us into the most suitable artifact for them. The one I chose is the one that resonates and is the most suitable. Hild explained seriously. I hope Lan Yu can consider mankind and not choose people randomly. If there is no resonance, then the Valkyrie cannot be transformed into a suitable artifact and cannot defeat the gods. God's artifact is cheating. Lan Yu calmly said, does the crisis you are preparing to deal with refers to the gathering of the strong army of humans in the past and the destruction of the gods? Tell me, it's because you can't get used to the dominance of the gods, or just say it. Lan Yu looked at Hild, his voice indifferent. Because half god and half human you, tragic you, want to avenge the gods, so at the expense of your sisters, you have to kill several gods, and even use humans as tools. To realize your ambition? Wow, Grey's eyes widened. Sister wants to destroy the gods? The other 11 Valkyrie looks condensed. Hild fell silent. Normally speaking, even if Hild hopes for the victory of mankind, he should not sacrifice all his sisters. Let all the sisters become artifacts, connected with destiny, and live and die together with human beings? Destroy all sisters. Only fight for 1,000 years for mankind? Then what? In the next millennium, there will be conferences on the survival of mankind. Hild find some more sisters to continue to sacrifice? Or sound the trumpet against the gods? Rebel against the gods? There must be a reason. The light that is impossible to kill, even if the resistance is victorious, will only cause chaos in the heavens. Is this what the Valkyrie wants? Baronhild. The tragic demigod Valkyrie. I hope that mankind will win, nothing more. Hild took a deep breath and spoke like this. That's really admirable. Lan Yu didn't say much. Sacrificing the lives of sisters in order to win the victory of human beings who have nothing to do with them. Such a woman. Ruthless enough, crazy enough, ordinary people and gods really can't afford to provoke them. Are you the Valkyrie who resonates with Lu Biyu? The list of gods has not yet come out. Assuming that Saul will be the first to play, let me see what you turned into an artifact. Lan Yu looked at the Valkyrie fourth, Randy Grace. Grace, with long orange hair, glanced at Hild, and after seeing the other nod, Grace took a deep breath and spoke. Master Thor has 2 artifacts. 1. The iron gloves that can block all attacks. Jan Glibbler. 2. The thunder hammer that shook the heavens because of the annihilation of the giant Jotun army. These 2 artifacts that are among the best in the heavens are not something that a human body can resist, they are simply cheating. So, I want to fight Lord Saul. We must first solve these 2 artifacts. With that said, Grace floated in the air, her whole body exuding a bright green light. The artifact is made. Grace echoed Lu Bu's life. Only in this way can it be transformed into the most suitable artifact. Warned. The light is dazzling. In a blink of an eye, Grace's body changed into a Fangtian painted halberd. Service. Lan Yu raised his hand and shook it. Fangtian's painted halberd neighed endlessly, and it was accompanied by Grace's characteristic, Shield Destroyer. This is a powerful weapon capable of tearing apart the artifact. If Lu Biyu died, the artifact would collapse, and Grace would die. Are you sure Grace's transformed weapon can destroy Thunderhammer? Lan Yu flicked the Fangtian painted halberd and analyzed all its composition and power. That flick. Grace's head was dizzy. Feeling like I had smashed dozens of mountains, I couldn't help being shocked by the power of the man holding her. Is the power so strong? Hild watched Lan Yu almost crack Fang Tian's halberd with a single flick. His eyelids twitched. Iron gloves can definitely be destroyed by grace. Thunderhammer is uncertain. Then you don't need you. Lan Yu directly inserted Fang Tian's painted halberd on the ground. This sentence stunned Sister Hild. Looking at Grace, who was recovering, Lan Yu said, "What I want is absolute victory. It's not possible. The artifact that your sisters turned into is too crisp." What? The 13 sisters of the Valkyrie couldn't help but stare together. Don't look down on us. Grace was the first to disagree. I admit that you have power far beyond imagination, but being strong does not mean that you can make artifacts. Even if it is manufactured, it is difficult to fit humans. If it can't fit, that's all. Grace was talking, and suddenly exclaimed, because Lan Yu once again appeared a Fang Tian painted halberd. It was washed with terrible power. The Valkyrie sisters were palpitating. Lan Yu waved a halberd from the sky, and said casually, "I analyzed all the components of your weapon, and then created it to increase its strength and power. Enough fit, is there any problem? Advertisement?" The 13 Valkyries were all sluggish. Feel free to create an artifact? Hild wanted to say something very much, but all the words were blocked, and his soul was greatly impacted. Suddenly, it was difficult to accept. Tick tick tick. Suddenly, tears fell from Grace's face, full of grievances and pitiful eyes. Grace really cried. "My sister, how could he be like this? He looked down on me, he bullied me." Hild. "Grace, you are wrong." After comforting Grace, Hild respectfully said, "This lord, your mighty power has amazed me. I will take you to the place where the gods are and reselect human representatives." Buzz. A green aperture channel opens. When Lan Yu entered, he saw a dense body of souls. In other words, the heroic spirit. They are all Valkyrie. In the long history of mankind, the human souls and armies that have been drawn continuously from the earth. Yanwang is in the same vein. Zhang Fei, Guan Yu, Liu Bei, the first emperor, and so on are all there. Taking a casual glance, Lan Yu also secretly selected a few people, but still not satisfied. Of these people, I can only choose 2 or 3, which is not enough. Hild was a little confused. So many, just choose 2 or 3. Gray whispered. Liu Bu, Emperor Shi, Adam, etc. Please choose more than 2 or 3 at random. Why should I choose Adam? Lan Yu glanced at Gray, and she was immediately startled. Gray plucked up the courage and said, Adam is the first human being, the father of all human beings, and the closest human being to God. Lan Yu's tone was flat. Do you mean that the ancestor of the Yanwang lineage is also Adam? This. Gray is in love. Can't help but look at Hild. Hild pulled Gray over. My lord, Gray is still young and naive, please forgive me. I just asked casually. Lan Yu doesn't care about with a little girl. He is really asking, after all, the rules of each world are different. Who knows what the situation is, Adam here. But how different? You can't set Adam as an ancestor of the Yanwang line, right? If so, that would be too bad. Seeing what Lan Yu was thinking, Hild whispered. And here are all the souls we brought from the earth. If it is not enough, we can only go to the earth and choose again. But the earth at this moment is the age of science and technology, and there are basically no strong people. Furthermore, it is difficult for the human body to be brought into the heavens, only for the soul. Lan Yu understood what Hild meant. He can only choose among these souls. Those who are buried in history and have not been brought to the heavens, cannot choose. Without your hands, wait for the opening of the dusk of the gods. Lan Yu raised his hand and swept away a large piece of soul. At the same time, Lan Yu disappeared. The Valkyrie sisters were startled. Do you really need their help? Gray exclaimed. My sister, all he took with him was from the Yanwang line, and he didn't even choose Adam. Remember, the God's Twilight Project was initiated by the Lord, and we have no right to choose. Hild was very calm. Even Adam, the man who was closest to God, was not chosen, which made her wonder who Lan Yu would choose. No, didn't he say that there are only 2 or 3 suitable? Where can I find the rest, now, after calming down those souls? Lan came to Yu and looked over the earth, and was in a daze for a moment, because the earth was too much like the earth he once was. The same are 7 continents and 8 oceans. Some countries have them, and their development status is similar. The difference is, the human beings here were facing the judgment of the gods without knowing it. You should still eat and drink, some work hard for life. Some squandered Dor and Sheng. After all, it is not the original earth. Zhao who got it? Lan Yu murmured and raised his hand. Time corridor, open. It is a long and bright river with countless historical fragments. It is difficult to see the source and end. Lan Yu stepped into it. Buzz, the Republic of China. Lan Yu made a circle around Yanwang land very quickly, but couldn't find the right person. Skip it directly in the Qing dynasty. In the early Ming dynasty, Lan Yu stayed for a few days and found a suitable person. Did not interfere with anything. After the person died, Lan Yu took away the soul. Across the Yuan dynasty, Lan Yu watched the rise and fall of the Song dynasty for a while, and continued to walk forward. Sui and Tang 5th generation period. Lan Yu saw a lot of strong souls. Heroes are like waves washing the sand. 3 kingdoms, 2 Jins, southern and northern dynasties. Pre-Qin, Eastern Han and Western Han. Shangzhou Chunchu and Sengoku. Can't go any further. The gods are not worthy to fight them. Lan Yu stopped during the Shang dynasty. Going forward is the Shah dynasty, and going forward is the prehistoric era, the ancestor of humanities, the 3 emperors and 5 emperors. Lan Yu started walking back again, until the personnel who participated in the war were selected. When Lan Yu returned to Earth, 2 or 3 days had passed since reality. The gods of the heavens are also ready. God Twilight, it started. Ps. The list of participants in the war has not yet been determined. Please leave your name, if appropriate, the author will arrange it. Remarks. Don't be too old, 3 emperors and 5 emperors are not appropriate. Chapter 5. Lu Feng, the god of love in the Imperial Women's Town, appears first. Advertisement now. Heaven, Valhalla Arena. This is an island suspended in the sky. Like the ancient Roman arena, the outer circle was filled with gods and human spirits. The difference is, the gods who once clamored for the end of mankind all sat there silently and said nothing. Because of this final struggle between the gods and mankind. It is not a fairyland legend set by the gods, it is the dusk of the gods set by a man who oppresses the gods. These days, the gods went crazy looking for all kinds of powerful forces, and constantly went to the earth to explore everything about Lan Yu. Attempt to gather intelligence, but they found nothing. It seems that Lan Yu has never existed in heaven and earth. Finally, it's about to start, my sister. On one of the steps, Gray was nervous. Glancing at the gods such as Zeus, Shiva, and the goddess on a platform, Gray set his gaze on another platform opposite to the platform of the gods. What a strong sense of oppression, it's not just Gray. Many gods looked at the platform with complex expressions. There stood 2 flags over 100 meters high with the emblem of the empire printed on them. Proclaim the gods. The Holy Empire arrives. On the terrace, Lan Yu sat calmly in the middle of the top floor. Konan, Kagaya, on the left, Hashirama, is on the right. On the next floor, Kushina, Makoto, Jiraiya, and others sat casually. And on both sides of the terrace, all sitting are people of the empire. On the outside, all the humans watching the battle are there. He turned out to be the lord of a country. At the Tower of the Gods, Zeus said hoarsely incomprehensibly. Hermes beside him is also deeply puzzled. Overall human history, there is no country called the Holy Empire. The existence of the Holy Empire is very unreasonable. Shiva looked dark, and Aphrodite, the god of love and beauty, also looked at Lan Yu with a strange expression. If it's just Lan Yu alone, it's fine if you can't find the information. But this entire Empire League came, and the gods still couldn't find out any information. This is too unbelievable. Aphrodite, glowing white, guessed. Could it be human beings on 107 other life planets outside of the Earth? The main gods frowned. It can only be so, after all, even they can't understand all the planets of life clearly. Those are the main gods. Similarly, Zu Madara et al. Also looking at the platform hundreds of meters away. Look, there are dogs, cats, lions, dragons, etc. Is this a zoo? On the next floor, Yahiko, Nagato and others looked at where the gods were and dazzled. The gods are really strange in appearance. There are all kinds of messy images. The appearance of animals is even more numerous. They looked at the gods wantonly as if entering a zoo, causing many gods to glare. Jiraiya screamed. What do you look at? I haven't seen a handsome guy. Come on, please kill me. Gods. Damn it. Why is this human being beaten up like the 2 pigeons on Odin's shoulder, but Odin and the pigeon are both dead? But the gods are true. Jiraiya can't help it. Lan Yu, who was sitting peacefully on the upper level, put great pressure on the gods. Sister Tsunade, look, that woman. At this moment, Kushina's eyes were wide open, and she looked forward in disbelief. That woman, glowing white. The god of love and beauty, Aphrodite. The light is not counted, the behemoth somewhere has blinded Kushina's eyes. Tsunade squinted his eyes slightly. I feel the pressure. Unprecedented great pressure. Terumi Mei looked down at herself, and then murmured, she's so showy. Makoto chuckled. I was directly amused by Terumi Mei's words. You're wrong. Her soul is very pure, slender and dust-free, and she probably hasn't been contaminated with the opposite S***X. No, I mean her dress. Terumi Mei can naturally see the pure soul of Aphrodite and show the perfection of women. However, that dress was too bold. Found it, 10-year-old Hyuga Hinata turned a book about various deeds of the heavenly gods given to Lan Yu by Hild. Quickly find the basic information of Aphrodite. Wow, she turned out to be the god of love and beauty. Ever since she was born in the ocean, she has become the object of jealousy of the goddess of heaven. Naturally beautiful, the gods love and admire. Huh, why is it gone? Hinata flipped through it and found that there was very little information about Eros. Terumi Mei took out a mobile phone and searched for it. I went to the earth for a while and downloaded a lot of myths and legends. Makoto chuckled lightly. The reason why myths and legends are called myths and legends is written by humans and it is difficult to correspond. Who knows the truth, as long as she knows her soul is pure? Amazed by the girls, Tsunade suggested, although not very strong, she is a top goddess after all. How about taking her away and being a maidservant for your majesty? Maid? Kushina and others were taken aback. Immediately full of interest, he is a god anyway. Only when the goddess is a maid can he match the identity of your majesty. Lan Yu, I can hear your words, sure enough, they can join together. Every time I get together, I have to do something. Makoto and others noticed Aphrodite, and Konan and Kagaya naturally noticed too. That kind of figure is almost impossible. Conan couldn't help being speechless. This is unscientific. Kagaya murmured. How big is it? Walking is exhausting to you. Lan Yu. Please pay attention to Zeus and other gods. What's so beautiful about a goddess? Lan Yu glanced at random, just to meet Aphrodite who was sneaking over. What? Aphrodite couldn't help screaming. The Lord gods were shocked. Shiva frowned and said, what are you shouting? It's so noisy. Sorry, Lord Shiva. Advertisement. Aphrodite spoke apologetically and buried his head. Ruined. She took a peek at that terrible human being was discovered. What would he think? Do you think she is disrespectful to him? Then rushed over to kill her? No wonder Aphrodite thought so. Many gods do not like being watched by human beings, thinking that it is disrespect to them. Lan Yu is so strong and kills Odin if he doesn't agree with him. Aphrodite has been scared and cried a long time ago. That man is terrible. She's so courageous. The Kushina girls laughed. The goddess is so afraid of your majesty. Did your majesty do anything indescribable to her? What is that? At this moment, it seems that the sky is darkening. The whole arena was silent. A beam of light struck down. A strangely shaped figure with sunglasses appeared in the center of the arena. Watcher of Doom. Heimdall. AHFH, it is the referee and host arranged by the gods. How long have I waited? Finally it's time to blow Galal. Heimdall took the horn and shouted. It is planned by the mankind, the Lord of the Holy Empire, that mankind and the gods finally fight, the time when the gods start fighting at dusk. Are you ready? Oh. The cheers of the human beings rang out in the arena, and the screams were endless. And the gods have only silent rage. Listen, the fairyland legend is changed to the dusk of the gods, that is the trampling of the gods by the Lord of the Holy Empire. Ah, the gods have referees, how can humans not? Suddenly a voice rang from behind Heimdall, and when he turned his head, he saw a white and miserable person looking at him with a smile. Hello ugly, my name is White Zetsu, excuse me, please stand aside. Directly squeezing Heimdall away, White Zetsu shouted with a 10-meter long loudspeaker. Hello? Can humans hear it? I come from the Holy Empire, let's cheer together. Oh. The human side was extremely pleasantly surprised. The moment a human becomes a referee, it is completely different. The majesty of the gods further collapsed. The main gods such as Zeus were expressionless. Heimdall is angry. What ugly? What am I ugly? The rules of the game are simple. Humans fight with gods, one side is completely dead, and the other side is victorious. In the first round, the one who led the gods was. Having said that, White Zetsu joked. Well, no matter which god is on the court, it doesn't matter. All the gods here are rubbish. Damn it. The gods glared. He felt that this human referee had deliberately angered them. Calm down. We have to be calm. Heimdall immediately said. The gods start in the first round, and every god wants to see his true strength. His thunderhammer is enough to smash the earth. Born for war and died for war. Pop it. At this moment, thunder and lightning appeared on the battlefield and turned into thunderballs. When the thunderball disappeared, a man appeared while sitting on a stone chair. He has long red hair, white long clothes, holding a huge thunderhammer and golden lines on his face, making him extremely cold. The strongest in Northern Europe, Sol God, Lord Sol. The moment they saw Thor, the gods cheered, except for Lan Yu, they don't believe that any human can beat Thor. First round. Mankind will undoubtedly be defeated. Next, the first round of human pioneers. White Zetsu held a huge loudspeaker and shouted. He is the fiercest and craziest fighter on the battlefield. Boom. Boom. On the human side, there are soldiers sounding gold and knocking the gong. Boom 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 boom. Hundreds of soldiers wearing ancient armors beat gongs and drums in awe-inspiring manner. Bite the brown smell. No one is on the stage, just the tweet of a horse. The moment when a strong red horse carries a mighty man into the field. The human race is boiling. That is a peerless general who has muscles, is extremely burly, and full of masculinity. Lu Bu among the people, and the red rabbit among the horses. Human pioneer, the strongest general of the three kingdoms, Lu Fengxian. Shudder, Nordic god Sol. In the shout of White Zetsu, Lu Bu turned over and dismounted, and a Fang Tian painted halberd suddenly flew from the sky. Lu Bu raised his hand and wiped it calmly. In an instant, the whole body was cleansed from the brutal evil tempered on the battlefield. Make the gods look sideways. Ah, Lord, Lu Bu's men cheered. They finally saw the demeanor of the Lord again. Gray also exclaimed. My sister, Lu Fengxian turned out to be the first to play, as you originally planned. Perhaps, he is the most suitable. Hild looked at Lu Bu on the battlefield carefully, trying to see the difference. Looking at people's stinky faces, the dogs of the gods now have the best chance to hit them severely. Hearing Hild said this, Gray couldn't help being stunned. My sister, you sometimes speak viciously. It turned out to be this human. Zeus and others looked at Lu Bu, then smiled cruelly. In the history of this world, because he was too invincible, he felt that his life was boring, and he went to death generously. They heard it slightly, but mere humans. What is the strongest against Northern Europe? How long have you waited? I finally usher in the moment when I can blow the horn to my heart's content. Heimdall was so excited that he blew the horn. The moment when the horn sounded represents the beginning of the dusk of the gods. Chapter 6. Peerless Lu Bu vs Thor, the shock of the gods. Advertisement. The first round, go to war, Peerless Lu Bu vs Thor. All the gods and people in the arena, including everyone in the empire, quieted down. Man and god fight against each other, an unprecedented battle in this world. Referees White Zetsu and Heimlar immediately retreated to the edge of the battlefield to avoid being affected. The battle between the strongest deity and the strongest human, the first round is finally. As Heimlar was talking, he found White Zetsu staring at him weirdly, and he suddenly panicked. Referee. I am a referee and can't kill me. White Zetsu patted him on the shoulder. Why am I killing you? But next time you ignite the atmosphere, don't always be the strongest. The strongest call will make people misunderstand. Isn't it the strongest? Heimlar was startled, suddenly remembered the existence of Lan Yu. I am not referring to your majesty, there are stronger players behind. White Zetsu said casually, which surprised Heimlar. There is a stronger human than Lu Fengxian? The two said. At this moment, many gods and people are also surprised. Because both Lu Bu and Sol put down their weapons, they were defenseless, and they did not take a fighting stance. One god and one person, looking at each other silently. The next moment, the two moved at the same time, approaching each other at will. The attitudes are extremely rash. Sol doesn't care how Lu Bu moves. Lu Bu turned a blind eye to Sol. Ha 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 ha, this is Lu Bu. In the human camp, Zhang Fei drank wine and laughed, and was infected by Lu Bu's hockey. No one complains why Thor's hammer is so ugly, there is no sense of art. On the side of the empire, Deidara, who was sitting below, couldn't help but speak. Kimimaro said, it's really ugly. Naruto couldn't help laughing. Don't you think it's funny? It must be amazing to hit it with such a big hammer. Pop. 07 Obito gave Naruto the back of his head directly. Boy, your captain never told you, don't you interrupt the other captains? Naruto smiled once. The captain of our squadron stopped talking nonsense to me, and directly killed him. Sasuke curls his lips. Idiot, Naruto. Naruto glared over, and the two opened their eyes to kill. Boom boom boom. Sol and Lu Bu were walking, causing a roar on the ground. Lu Bu and Sol, these two men of different races, have one thing in common. That is so far. It's all one trick to solve the opponent. Softer Lu Bu turned Fang Tian's painting halberd with his right hand, and fell abruptly. Boom. The moment the halberd fell, Thor lifted the thunderhammer, roaring and colliding. There was a stalemate for an instant, and Lu Bu's strength soared, and he directly shook Sol back several tens of meters. Brush. At the moment when Thor retreated, Lu Bu jumped up like a shadow, raised Fang Tian's painted halberd with both hands, and fell again. Sol raised his head, his eyes sharp. Huge thunderhammer like a steel box, the backhand is a hammer. Boom. The tyrannical force came, and Lu Bu turned over and landed and glided for dozens of meters. Both sides make a move. At this moment, both Lu Bu and Sol's eyes flashed with surprise and excitement. That's how it feels to meet opponents. It was the first time for each other to be attacked by them without falling down. Equally matched, the two sides are equal in strength, it is too unpredictable. Heimlar's exclamation sounded. This allowed the sluggish gods and people to react. Come on, Lu Bu, it's so amazing, it can actually fight against God. The human side cheered. The gods couldn't believe that humans could compete with Sol. Zeus said in a low voice. This human being is quite powerful, but it is purely a dream to say that this is evenly matched. He still doesn't know the true power of Sol. With that, Zeus looked across. The king of the gods looks at the lord of the empire. Kaguya angrily said, Your Majesty, what look in that bad old man's eyes, let the concubine kill him. No problem. Lan Yu took a mouthful of Conan's peeled lychees, and said casually, This is a pseudo-god, who doesn't understand the meaning of White Zetsu. Kaguya nodded obediently. Okay, concubine, let him live a little longer. Oolala, my concubine is so happy. In this world, many are older than concubines. Anyone is grandpa, uncle, aunt, big idiot, big milk, cow. The concubine will be a real beautiful girl from now on. Even Lan Yu never thought that Kaguya, who was so angry on the surface, would be so excited in his heart. Zertzi. Sol raised his hand, and the iron gloves on both hands were the magic weapon to stop all attacks. There are flashes of thunder and lightning at this moment. Thor was aggressive, and he held the thunderhammer with both hands, causing thunder and lightning to hiss. Oh, God Sol, who was not defensive, raised the thunderhammer with both hands. He lost his balance, he fell back, oh. Heimlar's exclaimed surprised White Zetsu next to him. This will bring the atmosphere, FK with me later. Under the horrified gaze of the gods and people, Sol held the huge thunderhammer in both hands, and his whole body leaned back in a huge arc. It's like doing extreme yoga. That trick. Hild looked at him, seeing Grey puzzled, and simply explained. In ancient times, Asgard, the kingdom of the gods, was invaded by 66 giants in the kingdom of giants, and Asgard fell into a crisis of destruction. Sol shot, recruited and killed 66 giants. The gods also named Sol's killer move. War God's Thunderhammer, Thor's hammer, ZZZ, with Thor's posture in place, the thunder and lightning became more and more violent, making the gods smile cruelly. Zeus said lightly, The game is over. Shiva agreed, Yes, it's over. Aphrodite, the god of love and beauty, still keeps his head buried and his eyelashes kept. She is at the moment. I didn't even bother to watch any battles. On the one hand, Lan Yu's glance frightened her, and on the other hand, she understood the eyes of Kushina and other women. Advertisement. They treat me as a gift. Yes, the eyes of Tsunade and others are very familiar to Aphrodite. Isn't it true that some of the subordinates of the gods see a good gift and are ready to take their eyes to the gods? So here comes the problem. Who are they going to dedicate me to? It's terrible, I scared Shinigami. Now, at the moment when Thor erupted with the battle god's thunderhammer, the surrounding air pressure suddenly increased, and suddenly compressed to the center, covering Lu Bu. Boom! The thunderous beam blasted straight into the sky. And it caused a powerful wave in the entire arena, which made it difficult for gods and people to sit up, and they were shocked. What? Aphrodite exclaimed again. Tsunade glanced at this place inadvertently, and suddenly smiled. It seems too big and it's not good, won't it fly? Somewhere in Aphrodite was like jelly. It makes people wonder if they will be bombed. The air wave continued to blow. It shocked many little gods and humans. Kaguya was puzzled. Why do those gods feel as excited as if they have won? Why are our people so worried and shocked? They are so strange. Isn't this a trivial trick? What shocked everyone? Gray also noticed the calm eyes of the Empire, and it was even more strange. My sister, the people of the Holy Empire didn't respond much, and even the children there seemed to be disgusted. Zuo Ming. Yes, we just hate it. Hild's eyes flashed slightly. Faced with the serious power of Thor, it is still calm. Only confidence in seeing more can bring it up. What kind of country is this? Zitsa. When the thunder and lightning disappeared and the dust began to disappear, the gods couldn't help being surprised. Boom. A figure rushed out of the dust. Thunderhammer was shaken strongly, and Saul's body was struck with a halberd. Puff. A fierce and narrow blade mark appeared on Saul's body, blood splashed and shot out. Scars. Terrible. You are quite strong. Unscathed, Lu Bu smiled ferociously. This was the first time he had spoken. Ha 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 ha. Lu Bu laughed heroically, excited about having such an opponent. But this scene. Humans who have been depressed for a long time cheered. The gods were shocked and couldn't believe this scene. Really? Master Thor was scratched by a halberd. The strongest in Northern Europe was hurt by humans? The cheers of mankind and the horror of the gods formed a sharp contrast. Lu Bu and Saul looked at each other. The two met by chance. Generate a wonderful idea. If they were born together in the same time, the same place, the same race. Should be a good friend. You fellow, after wiping the blood, Thor smiled for the first time. It's a shame to be a human being. If it were God, we would be friends. Saul didn't say the second sentence, but Lu Bu understood the meaning and smiled ferociously. History of this world. During the Three Kingdoms period, no one in the world could defeat Lu Bu. The strongest one was desperate for life. He was too boring. He took the initiative to be captured and died. I finally met an opponent that I can devote all my heart to fight against. Lu Bu smiled ferociously, extremely excited. Saul, let Lu Bu rekindle all his blood. Zeus was puzzled at this moment. It's really strange, human weapons cannot collide with Lei Feng, they will collapse in an instant, isn't it? God has artifacts, like cheating. Human weapons and bodies are unable to resist the artifacts, so it is almost impossible for humans to defeat gods. But now, the weapons of both sides have collided many times without damage. It must be him, a good method. At this time, Zeus did not go to see Hild, because the battle of the gods had nothing to do with her, so he looked at Lan Yu again. Obviously, is the lord of this empire. Let Lu Bu's weapon hang up. Lan Yu didn't go to see Zeus, he was unworthy. Boom. Saul and Lu Bu collided again, and this time Lu Bu laughed fiercely. An opponent that allows me to fight with all my strength, plus undamaged weapons. Lu Bu's power exploded, shaking Thor's thunderhammer down. Leaving very quickly, Thor temporarily dropped the thunderhammer and flew back. This world. Lu Bu was holding Fang Tian's painted halberd, and Haki attacked and killed him. It's so exciting, don't die easily, Pin. Saul raised his left hand. The artifact iron gloves on it collided with Fang Tian's painted halberd. There was a harsh clanging sound. Many people, gods and people blocked their ears. Impossible. At this moment, the audience was shocked again. Zeus, Shiva, Loki and other gods stood up in shock. Boom. Thor's magical iron gloves were torn apart. Not only that, Lu Bu's prestige remains undiminished. His eyes flashed fiercely. Shit! Fang Tian's painted halberd broke through Thor's left hand with a sudden stroke. Under the shocking eyes of the gods and human beings. Half of Thor's left arm. Break and fly, plasma goes in and out. The audience is silent. Chapter 7. The list of the gods of the heavens, the ancestor of 10,000 Buddhas is preparing for the battle. Advertisement: the artifact was broken. Lu Bu's Fangtian painting halberd smashed Jan Glipple into pieces like potato chips. Oh, no, my goodness, Soar's left hand, broken left hand, it's incredible. Heimlar took the microphone and shouted, but went to the back and stayed in a daze. The gods and humans are all shocked. Especially the lord gods like Shiva, who seemed to dare not believe their eyes, wiped them. But when they looked again, the iron gloves really shattered. But the left hand also broke off the blood. The gods felt a cool air rushing to the brain, and the scalp was numb. Broken, broken. Like a marionette, Grey turned her head hard. Sister Hild. Lord Thor's left hand was cut. Saul is the strongest in Northern Europe. Since ancient times, it has been famous in the world. No matter what the opponent is, it will be killed by one blow, so that all the gods can't see where the upper limit of Saul is. So the gods were the first to play Passel. It was to give the mankind the heaviest blow, to give Lan Yu who trampled them, to fight back strongly. But at the moment, Soul's broken left hand, it directly smashed the defenses of the gods. Even if grace turns into a divine tool, it is difficult to smash the iron gloves. At the same time, Lu Bu was able to continue to cut Soul's hand. What did that lord do? After Hild was shocked, he smiled presumptuously. Although it is unbelievable, but really I really want to say. Good job. Gray was stunned again. Keep your voice down, my sister, it will be shredded by the master gods. Soul's hand. Rocky was the first to be surprised. This is impossible. Human Lu Bu cheated. With Loki's high drink, one stone set off 1,000 layers of waves. The gods who had been suppressed for several days roared in anger. Master Thor's artifact can't be smashed so easily. Yes, Master Soul's hand is even less likely to be cut directly. This human Lu Bu cheated. We have to give us an explanation. Human beings are too cunning. Cheating. Cheating. The humans were stunned. The horrible faces of the gods screamed, shocking many people. The gods were furious. Who can stop it? Ha 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 ha, I really laughed at me. White Zetsu laughed while holding the microphone, tearing away, disdainfully said, Why, only allow you to use the artifact, humans can't use it, only if you are strong, humans can't do it? The gods, I see you barking like a bunch of dogs. White Zetsu said with an apologetic face, I'm sorry to say that, and it's insulting the dog. You can't stand it until the first round, then the next few rounds. You can't be angry, a bunch of brain-dead things. Hemlar beside him was stunned. Brother, you are so awkward. Are you not afraid of being beaten to death by the gods? He vomited blood with an air, and pointed to White Zetsu and said, You. White Zetsu disdain. What you do, listen to you, a sense of superiority and IQ spontaneously arises. Shiva stared at White Zetsu, humans, I have endured you for a long time. Come on, please kill me. White Zetsu was very arrogant, took a closer look at Shiva, and laughed suddenly. Did you ever get gnawed by a pig when you were a kid? Your looks broke my imagination, ha ha ha. Damn, it's human. Shiva was full of furious anger, and was about to make a furious shot, and immediately swept the audience with a wave of coercion. Buzz. This coercion. Like the breeze blowing on the face, and like the roar of thousands of thunder, it is full of ultimate contradiction. But it made the audience quiet. It's him, Lord of the Empire. Hermes looked down. Shiva immediately lowered his head and forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart. Any comments? Lan Yu's plain words swept the audience. All the gods were silent, bowed their heads one after another. Odin's death reminded them, the Lord of the Empire is invincible. Of course, it's just that there is no way yet. The gods don't believe in the celestial realm, which is hundreds of millions of years old, and cannot find a way to kill a human being. There must be, let's endure it first. This scene is extremely exciting. That majesty is really hockey, ha 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 ha. Zhang Fei laughed loudly. Kaguya was disappointed. The concubine thought they would take action, so disappointed. Conan frowned slightly. What a proud race the gods are, so forbearing, there must be big plans. You know, according to Hild, the gods are far more prone to rage than humans. It was an uncontrollable emotion, but even so, it was very abnormal that no god came out. Yo 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 yo. Chen Gong and other subordinates yelled with gongs and drums. Go Lord. Complete the cause of God. Lu Bu smashed the artifact and cut Soul's hand, giving countless people a strong sense of pride. All human beings are trembling with excitement for a certain premonition. It was the first time since the birth of primitive humans that there was a premonition that a miracle would happen. No, there is also the Lord of the Empire. At this time people were in a trance. Are we humans so strong? You can do this and finally don't let me get bored. After losing his left hand, Saul remained cold and calm, as if it was not him who had severed his hand. This attitude was exchanged for Lu Bu's ferocious smile. That's right, it is finally no longer boring to have an opponent like you. Zzz. Suddenly, the thunderhammer falling beside Lu Bu gasped with white smoke. Attract the attention of the audience. More than that, the entire huge thunderhammer became red like magma, exuding extremely high temperature. It seems to be about to melt and disintegrate, but the next moment. Advertisement boom. Long. Suddenly, a burst of sound rang from the thunderhammer, which made one's heart tense. This is the sound of drums? Heimlar was not sure, and then his eyes widened, full of exclamation. No, it's unbelievable. This is the heartbeat of Thunderhammer. The audience was in an uproar. Is Thunderhammer alive? Saul calmly walked to the Thunderhammer and said softly, You finally woke up. Click. The sound of breaking sounded. In the consternation of the audience, the outer layer of Thunderhammer suddenly cracked like a mirror. From it, the flesh and blood like a heart were squeezed out, and the pulse kept beating. Zeus also smiled. Ha ha ha, is Thunderhammer finally awake? The legend of Thunderhammer and Iron Gloves has always been misunderstood. Hermes was startled. Misunderstanding? Zeus's forehead. The Iron Gloves are not to protect Saul from the Thunderhammer, but to restrain Soul's power. Avoid letting him crush the unawakened Thunderhammer. The main gods suddenly looked at the battlefield. Because he lost his left hand, Saul raised his right hand, and the iron glove on it was flung away. After flying with iron gloves, like a feather, it lightly and slowly fell to the ground. The audience didn't care. Until Boom! When the thin iron gloves fell on the ground, smashing a deep hole. The audience was in vain. It's so heavy, Naruto murmured, this scene is so familiar. Sasuke's face turned dark. In normal training, Rock Lee guys are loaded with various weights, and throwing them out is also a pit. All insidious guys. Naruto smiled suddenly. It seems that Urzuzi was removed by Rock Lee during the selection of team leader a few months ago, and he is still aggrieved. Eliminate. When Thor raised the Thunderhammer with his right hand, people couldn't tell whether it was plasma or lava, and they kept falling from the Thunderhammer. Even if there is only one hand left, still does not affect Soul's power to play. Putting the Thunderhammer on his shoulders, Sol looked forward sharply. Human, no, your name is Lu Bu, right? I want to ask you one thing. Lu Bu raised his brow slightly. The Thunderhammer burst into thunder, and Thor's tone was rather plain. Don't die. Such a serious Sol made Lu Bu smile ferociously, very satisfied with such an opponent. Also at this moment, Hild took out his cell phone. The moment she looked at the screen, her whole body was shocked, which shocked Gray beside her. I already know. In Gray's shock, Hild solemnly said, the Battle of the Twilight. List of the gods of the heavens participating in the battle. What? Gray leaned in immediately, and his eyes widened. At the same time, the Empire also received a list of the heavenly gods participating in the war. Zeus, Sakamuni, Apollo, Loki, Poseidon, Susanoo. Hashirama took the phone and read the name. Madara raised her eyebrows slightly. These are the strongest gods in the heavens? Conan doesn't think so. Don't believe in the credibility of the gods, these lists are just for us to see. When it comes to playing, there are likely to be various accidents. Everyone nodded. Now it's right. Now is not the time for Kamui to crush everything, they will not show all the cards. List all the lists so that the Empire can search for information and intelligence? The gods are not that idiot. On the list, maybe 2 or 3 are true. The ancestor of Sakamuni Buddha, Lan Yu whispered the name. This is shouting. Heaven and earth, I alone dominate. Sakamuni who became a god, Sakamuni, has become a god, recruiting believers. Has you already become a god? Zhao who got it? According to Lan Yu's observation of the future, a scene where Sakamuni rebelled against the gods, standing on the side of mankind, participated in war for mankind. It also demonstrated the terrifying power of dimensionality reduction in combat, and the tyrannical gods who participated in the war. But, that is a possibility, it is even more likely that the Empire will not participate. The current situation is, mankind is not a vulnerable group, but the gods are facing a crisis of destruction. Since mankind will not be destroyed, so Sakamuni also didn't want the gods to perish directly. No matter which side is destroyed, they are not recognized by Sakamuni's philosophy. That's interesting. If Sakamuni plays, Lan Yu also arranges human combat personnel. Since you are the ancestor of Buddhism, well, wait. Zeus frowned. What's going on with the Lord of the Empire? Why didn't the list of humans participating in the war be announced? Shiva can't wait with air. They also thought about investigating the information in detail after the list came out, in case of an accident. But now, not even mentioning the list of humans participating in the war. This makes the hearts of the gods irritable. They are all facing a crisis of destruction, and still toss them like this. Damn it too. Then he suppressed his anger and looked at the battlefield. Thor waved the awakened Thunderhammer with all his strength. This was the first time the gods had seen this kind of scene. After the charge was completed, Thor directly projected the huge Thunderhammer. Direct attack on Lu Bu. Chapter 8. The sky is noisy and the sky is cracked. The strongest thunder god in Northern Europe, Thor, die. Advertisement. Woo. Huge Thunderhammer. Sparks and lightning all the way, spinning at a high speed, straddling tens of meters and hitting Lu Bu in a flash. Time of antiquity. Thor threw the Thunderhammer, directly smashing the frost giant Jotun's head. Thunderhammer because of its magic. Hundreds of shots were made without a single shot, and no enemy was able to escape. In the audience holding their breath, at the moment when the thrown Thunderhammer was about to attack Lu Bu directly leaned back, and the Thunderhammer passed him by a few minutes. And rushed to the audience stage without stagnation. The audience exclaimed. Boom! When Lu Bu got up, he stepped on the ground suddenly, holding Fang Tian's painted halberd like a violent wind, and rushed over. Oh, I can't keep up with the live situation. Lu Bu dodges 100 shots of Thunderhammer, and immediately rushes to the unarmed god Sol. With Heimler's exclamation, Lu Bu jumped up and swooped down at Sol. Hey! At this time, the Thunderhammer flew around the audience stage and flew back at high speed. Directly behind Lu Bu, Heimler exclaimed, no, the Thunderhammer is flying back. White Zetsu did smile. No, the first round is over. What? The gods and mankind were startled. Smash it for me. I saw Lu Bu jumping up to attack Sol and let out a brutal shout. Suddenly turning around in midair with a tyrannical force, Fang Tian's painted halberd flashed black and red light, and slammed on the striking Thunderhammer. Boom! Lu Bu's power broke out. Fang Tian's painted halberd and Thunderhammer simultaneously launched a terrifying force, which directly caused a huge roar, and formed 2 energy beams, one black and one blue, straight into the sky. Tear! In the audience's horror, the clouds in the sky were directly penetrated. Hi, what is that? The collision broke through the sky and a crack appeared. It's incredible, human beings can split the sky. How can it be? At this moment the gods are silent. If that energy beam, 110, can be understood as the magic burst of Thunderhammer. But the sky still had a blade-like trace tearing the sky apart, which was obviously split by a sharp knife. Fang Tian painted a halberd. Gray was also shocked. My sister, how could Lu Bu be so strong? This is a matter of course. Hild was very calm, saying, before Lu Bu died in the Three Kingdoms period, he understood his own strength and loneliness. However, he still relentlessly pursues the peak of martial arts. Day after day, year after year, the Fangtian painted halberds created by humans are simply unable to withstand his strength, and they have damaged thousands of them in his practice. But he still waved his halberd intently by Ishin, like a thirsty, love-seeking girl, believing that he will eventually meet the strongest opponent he has never seen before. The calendar often has weather-beaten days every year until a certain day. Lu Bu, a halberd, even split the atmosphere, slashing the sky. Gray was completely frozen in place. A human being, relying on martial arts, and that fragile weapon, split the sky. Gray was curious. My sister, what is that trick called? Hild said 2 words calmly. Night. Boom. Suddenly, a broken sound rang, exploding in the hearts of the gods. Zeus's pupils shrank, and he stood up suddenly. How could this happen? Shiva was shocked. It's impossible. Loki's face sank. What a Lu Fengxian, I remember you. When the sky closes, when the dust is gone, when all the audience looked up, they saw that Lu Bu's Fang Tian painted halberd had completely penetrated the huge thunderhammer. Immediately afterwards, the whole thunderhammer was like tofu, cracked every inch. Boom boom boom. Every fragment hit the ground, causing a roar, smashing into pits one after another. Thunderhammer. Fragmented. ZZZ. But there is still thunder and lightning raging and rushing towards Sol. Lightning along the way, imitating. AHFH. Buddha is the last wailing of Thunderhammer. But it's just 1 meter away from Sol. The thunder and lightning disappeared. The magic is also dissipated. The Thunderhammer, which is famous in the heavens, is destroyed. Hiss. The entire arena was silent for a moment, and then like a volcanic eruption, there was deafening cheers. Ah, the Lord is invincible. Smashed another artifact. Lord Lu Bu is too powerful. Ha ha ha, as expected of Lu Fengxian, I am taken by Zhang Fei. The human camp keeps cheering. Cheers for Lu Bu, cheers for mankind. In contrast to it, the dead silence of the gods. What is it? Zeus directly smashed the seat, Shiva broke off the stage, and the gods had scarlet eyes, like a beast about to run away. Unexpectedly, what did he do to crush the Thunderhammer? Hild subconsciously looked at the top of the Empire platform, where the Lord of the Empire was. If it was a weapon transformed by the Valkyrie Grace, it would never be possible to smash the Thunderhammer. With the body of a mortal, with a mortal weapon, with mortal martial arts, slash the sky. Lan Yu's playing whispers instantly washed away the entire arena, and all the audience listened. The difference between him and the gods is only a weapon of the same level as Thunderhammer, and a body that can contend with the gods. Countless audiences were in a trance. Is it just that? Lu Bu is a heroic spirit and a soul body. Lan Yu can use countless ways to make him stronger and possess various skills. But Lan Yu didn't do that. It just strengthened Lu Bu's physique and made up for the physique gap with Thor. Simultaneously, simulation analysis created a weapon transformed by the Valkyrie Grace, which was strengthened to the same level as Thunderhammer. Obviously, the Thunderhammer could not bear the same level of weapon. The power of Lu Bu broke out completely. It's just a Thunderhammer weapon of the same level, it just complements the body? Zeus murmured, his expression gloomy. What does this show? Say Lu Bu, who has practiced martial arts for decades, is no weaker than Thor, who has practiced countless years in martial arts skills. Wu, the martial arts level of the human strong, is not weaker than that of the gods? If those strong human beings have divine tools, they have physiques no weaker than gods. Fruit, then the god lost all the advantages. God. Advertisement, Your Majesty, if you say so, if Sol takes the lead to attack Fang Tian's painted halberd with all his strength. Is it possible for Fang Tian's painting halberd to be broken? Or is it broken together? Kagaya asked curiously. Lan Yu Masanori. After all, it is a weapon of the same level, but only if Sol has this opportunity. He threw the Thunderhammer, in fact, to increase the centrifugal force of the Thunderhammer, and the strongest force broke out after it was retracted. But Lu Bu cast directly interrupted. Without Lucer's strength blessing, Thunderhammer is not enough to withstand Lu Bu's full burst. Go now. Sol was silent. The real purpose of his throwing Thunderhammer was not the throw itself. It is to use its speed and centrifugal force after throwing the Thunderhammer with all its strength to make the ultimate blow when the two are accumulated to the limit. Thousands of years ago, cut when Thor fought with his old enemy, the giant snake, Yemengata, he solved it with the ultimate blow. The awakened Thor's hammer, but at the moment, the speed and centrifugal force of the Thunderhammer had not reached the limit, and had not returned to his hands. It was directly crushed by Lu Bu. His final blow hasn't erupted yet. Lu Bu's final blow broke out. Lu Bian, you really surprised me and made me no longer bored completely. Even if the double artifact was destroyed, even if his left hand was broken, Thor was still calm and indifferent. Your attitude makes me a little uncomfortable, but it makes me even more excited. Bolsh Lu Bu smiled fiercely, and under the shocked eyes of all the audience, let go of his hands. Fang Tian's painted halberd hit the ground. What? Lu Fengxian actually abandoned the weapon in his hand. He is a real soldier, call, he is going to go up, he rushed up. Lu Feng first rushed up unarmed. Hi's excitement was incoherent, and it was that Lu Bu's choice was surprising and reasonable. Lu Bu is by no means peerless. Disdained to use Fang Tian's painted halberd to attack Sol, who made him recognize the defenseless. Ha 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 ha, although you only have one hand left, I will not show mercy. What Lu Bu said that he stepped on the ground, clenched his fists, and rushed up ferociously. Even if Tian doesn't have a left hand, I still have the ability to make up. Seeing Lu Bu coming, Thor burst out with thunder. Look, the power of thunder. Thunder can make up for the lack of power in the left hand. Can, war? War. Lu Bu and Sol shouted at the same time. Boom 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 boom. Suspect at the moment of contact between the two. The fists of the two sides turn into afterimages, constantly colliding, causing the atmosphere to roar continuously. Pair one side is as fierce as a tiger, fierce as a wave, and swept like a violent wind. One side is moving like thunder, and lightning strikes, like thousands of thunder. Boom boom boom. Long under the gaze of the audience. From the center of the arena, Lu Bu and Sol hit the far east. Department it hit the center from the east and the west. The entire battlefield seemed to be filled with the afterimages of the two of them, and strong waves of aura constantly hit the audience stage. Ooh, it's so exciting, it's so exciting. No one thought that the two of them turned from a weapon confrontation into a hand-to-hand combat in a blink of an eye. Himlar kept exclaiming, boom. Losing his left hand and eventually losing some balance, Sol was accidentally blown away by Lu Bu. Lu Bu didn't stand still and attacked the past like a shadow. Zzz. At the moment of Lu Bu's attack, Thor exploded with a fist of thunder, directly deflected Lu Bu's direction, and stood up. The two collided fiercely again. All the audience was dazzled again. Zeus said in a deep voice, with the same physique nowadays, you can only use skill. Hermes frowned. Poor Sol, after all, he is missing a hand. Although the thunder and lightning are strong, they can't really make up for it, which is very detrimental to him. Zeus did not answer. Instead, he was thinking. There are some artifacts that are equivalent to thunderhammers in the heavens. It's not that surprising that Lan Yu can find a few. But how did Lan Yu strengthen Lu Bu's body? Although there are treasures in the heavens that strengthen the body, they are extremely rare. Lan Yu is really willing, isn't it fragrant to use on yourself? Lan Yu. Let's learn about the fantasy creation artifact, and instill soul energy into the heroic Lu Bu to strengthen the body. Opponents worthy of my all-out effort, let's end it. After thumping Sol back again, Lu Bu found a chance, and unexpectedly put his hands together in a blade shape. Although there is no weapon, it is not enough to explode the power that it should have, but it is enough. Lu Bu smiled ferociously. All the power exploded in an instant. Nature. In the shocking eyes of the audience, boom. A terrifying invisible blade appeared. The earth was cut into a huge ravine in an instant, attacking Thor, the god of thunder. What? Unarmed, Lu Fengxian unexpectedly broke out his ultimate move again. It's a blow that just smashed the sky, God Sol. When Himlar spoke, he was completely sluggish in place. The power of natural danger. Rhea broke open in a flash. Instantly past Thor. The moment when a blood flowed from head to toe on Sol's body. The brains of the gods are blank. Thor's whole body split in half. Titicaca. When the two halves land, the gods are silent again. The strongest in Northern Europe, Thor, die. Chapter 9. Last General Lu Bu, come to meet His Majesty the Holy Emperor. Advertisement. The ground covered with plasma, when Thor's two halves fell. Lu Bu's ferocious smile gradually faded, staring at Sol's body for a long time before murmured. Opponents who made me do my best, go all the way well. If the same era, if the same place, if the same race. We will be friends. Thor's death made the entire arena extremely quiet. Humans and the gods finally fight, the first round of the gods at dusk is the victory. Human representative, Lu Fengxian. The moment Himlar cried out the result in a flabbergasted manner. The whole human race is boiling, ooh. Master. Lu Fengxian. Lu Bu's troops, as well as the rest of the human beings, are shouting, venting their inner excitement. The gods were defeated by humans and faced this reality that shouldn't have appeared. One side of the gods, there is only a deep silence. All the expressions of the gods were frozen in the moment before Thor died. Gods. Respond with silence. Sister. Gray recovered and asked a question. Master Sol, what will happen? She hasn't seen it yet. The scene of the death of the gods. Odin was directly swallowed by Lan Yu's black hole that time. When Gray looked up, Odin disappeared. Battle of heroic spirits. This is a battle between souls. Hild looked at Thor's body in a pool of blood and slowly spoke. Once the soul itself is shattered, resurrection, reincarnation, and all remedies are useless. It will only become the dust in the universe. The dust. Gray's heart was shocked. It turned out to be such a cruel result. With the complete annihilation of the soul, there will be no more God Thor in the future. Click. Under the breath of the gods, under the human side. The two halves of Thor glowed, and his whole body began to shatter like a mirror. The fragments exploded. The end of the first round. Represents the end of Sol. It's true. Rocky held his hair impetuously, and his face sank. In this case, you can't just laugh it off. Sol. Both belong to the Nordic gods. After Odin died, Thor died again. It made Loki, the god of fire and tricks, the god of lies, completely unable to maintain a weird smile. Ultimate indifference is exuded all over his body. Master Lu Bu, please leave from here. When Heimlar came over, he felt a huge sense of oppression. Compared with Lu Bu, his body was very small. Seeing Lu Bu's expressionless face, Heimlar couldn't help but mutter. This human has clearly won, but he is even more cold and gloomy. White Zetsu walked over with Fang Tian's painted halberd and saw Lu Bu doing this, and said casually, "It is not necessary for humans to cheer. If you are bored because you have lost your opponent, there will be opportunities for you to fight with all your strength in the future." "Hope so," Lu Bu said coldly, and looked at White Zetsu who was handed over by the lower sky halberd. "This guy who looks stupid and arrogant, can I also wave my Fang Tian painted halberd?" If White Zetsu knew that Lu Bu treated him this way, he would definitely fight for it. "You are stupid. White Zetsu, is smart. What?" Suddenly received a report from a little god. Heimlar was shocked, and then he took the microphone and said, "The gods, apply for an intermission, and the second round tomorrow. May I ask the human side to agree?" The humans were stunned and looked towards the top of the Empire Tower together. The Lord of the Empire is located. There is no answer for a long time. Zeus and other gods felt humiliated again. When do the gods want to take a break and still need to win the consent of mankind? However, the reality is so. One word swept the audience. In the next moment, the main gods disappeared directly in place and didn't want to stay here for another second. The gods of the auditorium, they also left the scene in silence one by one. In a blink of an eye, the entire arena was half empty, leaving all of it to humans. Naruto screamed, "Hey, they won't run away? Do you want to chase?" Sasuke disdainfully said, "Go, I really hope to see you fighting the gods alone, it must be wonderful." "Pop." Kakashi said flatly after the person gave a back of his head, "Just the two of you talk more, go back to train and double." Zooming. Also at this moment, Tsunade, Terumi Mei, Kushina, Mikoto, and Hinata, 4 girls and 1 loli quietly left the high platform. "Do not know either. What are the 5 girls going to do?" "Your Majesty, taste this." Lan Yu on the upper level also ignored the lower level, and Jungnan lazily ate the heavenly spirit fruit peeled by Conan. Kagaya looked at all kinds of books in the heavens seriously. "Be a quiet beautiful woman." Zu Madara and others are also interested in going to other places in the heavens, preparing to go around a few times. At the same time, Lu Bu passed by the congratulatory people and walked straight to the Imperial platform. "Wait, explain why." When approaching the high platform, Lu Bu was directly stopped by Might Guy, the captain of the 7th Army of the Guarding Saints. Lu Bu said in a low voice, "See your Majesty, I will report, but..." Might Guy glanced at Fang Tian's painted halberd. "I saw that your Majesty is not allowed to carry any weapons, please put it over there." Advertisement. Looking at Might Guy, Lu Bu calmly put down Fang Tian's painted halberd. "My lord, I hope you won't offend that Majesty." Shen Gong and other subordinates couldn't help being nervous. After all, Lu Bu won, and he must always report to that Majesty. What were they before? It is the soul that the Valkyrie brought from the earth to the heavens, and it is the heroic soldier of the Valkyrie organization. Humans are in the heavens, there is no right to speak. And the Lord of the Empire. It is the strongest man who oppresses the gods and forces the start of the gods' twilight plan, a great terror that makes the gods daring to anger and dare not speak. When the Lord of the Empire took away these heroic spirits from the Valkyrie. In terms of ownership, they have belonged to Lan Yu's men. What's more, the Lord of the Empire has retrieved the dignity for all human spirits, and is worthy of their admiration and admiration. This is especially true of the Yanwang lineage, because they knew that the Lord of the Empire belonged to the Yanwang family, they couldn't hide it at all. But, Shen Yan wiped his cold sweat. The character of the Lord, cough cough, I hope it's okay. Peerless generals, the dishes are rebellious, no matter what you do, it is not surprising. But it went beyond the expectations of Shen Gong and other subordinates, and something unexpected happened on the high platform. The coldness of their fantasy, the daring to challenge, and so on did not happen. Final General Lu Bu, see His Majesty the Holy Emperor. After arriving at the top of the high platform, he took a deep look at Lan Yu. Lu Bu lowered his unruly head and bent his knees. You don't need to pay more, unless it is a formal and solemn occasion, the Empire is not popular to bow down. Lan Yu glanced at Lu Bu and said calmly, "You did a good job, do you know how to salute?" Lu Bu was taken aback for a moment. This Majesty is still complimenting the previous sentence, but the next sentence is inexplicable etiquette. Sure enough, Kunwei is unpredictable. If Lan Yu wants to know Lu Bu's thoughts, he may be a little weak to complain. Lu Bu dyed the crossbow again, he also grew up in ancient times, and has a different understanding of Kunquan than modern people. 0. Seeking flowers, Lan Yu doesn't like that dull old system. Lifeless, loss of blood, he just wanted to see how Lu Bu, a peerless general, was saluting. Conan, the captain of the Holy Army, see His Majesty the Emperor of the Holy Empire. After receiving Lan Yu's signal, Conan stood up and raised his hand to salute. Like this, Lu Bu's eyelids twitched, the tower-like man. Soft movements are not as powerful as half-kneeling, nor can they show respect for Kun Quan. Will the action be too random? The Empire is not an ancient dynasty, starting today, you will have other heroes. In the new era, you need to learn new habits. Lan Yu said, motioning for Lu Bu to stand over, and then when Lu Bu saw it, Conan took out the camera. Come on, give me a photo with Lu Fengxian. Fengxian, don't be so serious, come and laugh. Lu Bu. Is this the new era? The worldview of the end general collapsed? This scene today. Let Lu Fengxian remember 10,000 years. Lu Bu, the heroic spirit, belongs to the Empire. After a while, Lu Bu calmed down and said, Your Majesty, is Saul really dead? Why, not enough. Point 0 Lan Yu understands what Lu Bu means. Lu Bu is a little unhappy when he meets a rare opponent worthy of being a friend. The world is huge. In the future, there will be opportunities for you to fight. As he said, a light group appeared in Lan Yu's hand. The rules of this world are very special. The soul is broken and the dust is completely reduced. There will be no way to resurrect. But just take it back before the soul fragments turn into dust, understand? This sentence, and that light group, Lu Bu was stunned. My friend Thor, return of the soul? At the same time? In the Hall of Zeus room, many gods are sitting here with a low expression. Finally left there. The god of love and beauty, Aphrodite took a deep breath and let go of worry. Whenever thinking of the weird gazes of Sinai and other women, she trembled with fright. I don't want to be a gift, what if it is given to an abyss monster? What Aphrodite didn't know was, a few girls quietly came outside Zeus's room and felt Aphrodite's soul again. After confirming, this woman's soul is indeed very pure, without any different, sexual aura. Sure enough, many legends are not credible, and many gods and legends are very different. Maybe it's the jealousy of some gods, it's arranged randomly. Well, she is qualified enough. The women outside the door concealed the exchange of consciousness. It was not discovered by the gods in the room. Why do you feel something is wrong? Aphrodite looked around, his expression nervous, and attracted the attention of the gods. Shiva couldn't help frowning. What's the matter with you today, either screaming or watching, there is no divine prestige. You purple monster is not the same. Aphrodite complained inwardly and apologized. Sorry, sir, I'm a little uncomfortable. Zeus didn't care, but when Aphrodite was in a bad mood, he said casually, go and rest. With the departure of Aphrodite, the gods started various discussions. But just a few minutes of discussion, Aphrodite's exclamation came from outside. Ah! Help! The gods were surprised, rushed out immediately. Then he froze in place. What's happening here? Chapter 10. Robbing Aphrodite as a maid, give one more. Advertisement a few minutes ago, after the white glowing Aphrodite left. The hall was a bit dark. Many main gods gathered in Zeus's room and talked. Hermes and Ares, the god of war, were there. Zeus drank the holy water channel. Everyone gathers together, what should we discuss? Shiva hit the table with a fist, and two more eyes opened above his eyes, full of anger. Don't pretend to be a fool, old man. We must find a way to fight the Demon King. Shiva said he couldn't stand it anymore. The more excited a human is, the more angry he is. Especially the Holy Empire. Trample on the gods again and again. Patience has already reached his limit. Loki also had a sullen face. Humans have killed Odin and Thor, and my Norse god system has suffered a heavy loss. He is the one who deserves the most anger. My Nordic gods are too miserable. Seeing Rocky speak, Zeus's eyes flickered. You, the god of tricks, do you have a good way? Ares behind him coldly said, you don't need any tricks, just go to war with the Empire. Ares' tone was full of bloodthirsty and blood. He is the god of war, mutiny, killing and riots, and at the same time a powerful god of war. Shut up, Ares. Zeus snorted softly, if you really want to start the war directly. Still need to discuss here? Loki squinted his eyes slightly. Do you know the twilight of the gods? I mean the end of the gods, not the Demon King who initiated the 1-0 struggle plan. Doomsday of the gods? The reaction of the gods was not great. Because the world is like this. Destruction is born, birth and destruction cannot be avoided. A powerful god can face it frankly, after the world fell. The remaining gods will build a new world again. After a long time, it is prosperous again. However, before this terrible day of destruction is about to come, there must be an omen. Is there a sign now? Loki said 4 words. Holy Empire? The Holy Empire headed by the Demon King does not know its origin, strength, or origin. They will destroy the world. Zeus raised his eyebrows slightly. Some don't like Rocky's tone, because Rocky is so weird that no one can figure out his thoughts. If any day, Loki opens the twilight of the gods, Zeus will not feel any surprises. So, how to deal with it? Ares looked at Loki sharply. He least likes a god who engages in conspiracies. First of all, we need to win 7 games. Scramble for 1,000 years for the gods, so that there will be time to implement various plans. Otherwise, we can only go to war. Loki's words made Ares suddenly angry. After talking here for a long time, the result is all nonsense, a waste of time. Do you want to die? Rocky frowned. Sure enough, this muscular god of war is an idiot. Use your brain, okay. Seeing this, Hermes roundly said, my sirs, calm down, don't hurt your peace. Let's, at the same time. Outside, after Aphrodite left here, he hurriedly walked towards his home. She always feels something is wrong, but I can't say it again. So I decided not to go out. Even if the competition is opened again, she will not watch it unless the world is destroyed, she will never come out. Suddenly, Aphrodite was shocked, because she found out. All the guards outside Zeus's house fell to the ground. A kind of palpitating silence. That bad feeling is getting stronger and stronger, lie. Not good, run. Don't even think about it. Aphrodite bloomed at the fastest speed in history, disappearing like a stream of light. But the next moment, Aphrodite was in vain, because, finding that her own body was out of control, she forcibly changed her direction and fell back. Who is teasing me? Aphrodite screamed, looking very powerful. But actually, Aphrodite was panicked. She is the god of love and beauty. It doesn't rely on fighting to feed, and the strength is simply not better than the other main gods. Do you still want to kill the enemy? That scene will be very funny. TikToka, your expression is so funny. Let me just say it, too big is a burden, it can't run fast at all. Then mine can't be too big. Little Hinata, in fact, it's good to be bigger. Maybe your majesty look at it more. Hey, don't bring bad kids. Woman's voice? Aphrodite breathed a sigh of relief. But what are they talking about? Is it here? Aphrodite lowered his head and glanced, suddenly full of pride and confidence. Only these 2 points. Who can compare to the heavens? Humans can only look up. Wrong, his majesty? After catching 2 words. Aphrodite suddenly thought of the terrifying Empire Lord, and couldn't help panicking. Swipe it. When 4 big and 1 small 5 figures appeared. Aphrodite's eyes were filled with despair. It's really them. On the 2nd floor of the Empire Tower, several women looked at him with strange eyes. It's bigger than my head. Looking at Aphrodite up close, 10-year-old Hyuga Hinata couldn't help exclaiming. The little hand covers his eyes. Sister Tsunade, do you feel it? Jang Tsunade. Kushina coughed slightly. This feeling of oppression is coming. Tsunade, Makoto and Terumi May twitched their eyelids. It is so described. It's really right. The woman was under great pressure in front of her. Advertisement Aphrodite fell. It is estimated that the capable people will be crushed to death. What are you going to do? Aphrodite felt like a little sheep, stopped by 5 demon heads. Trembling. Poor, weak and helpless. Makoto smiled and said, we just feel that it is a pity that a woman with a pure soul like you is destroyed with the gods. Come with us. Go. Where to go? Give her as a gift? Thinking of this, Aphrodite realized that he could not break away the strange power, and suddenly shouted. Help. The devil of the Holy Empire wants to catch me. Aphrodite's scream shocked the gods in discussion. Holy Empire? In an instant, the gods rushed out of the hall. Brush and brush. After Zeus waited for the main god to come out, he was taken aback. Aphrodite was surrounded by 5 women, and she was beautiful, pale, messy, and face. What's happening here? They thought it was Lan Yu who came over. It's you. Hermes looked at one vote. The people sitting on the 2nd floor of the Arena Empire Tower are obviously also high-ranking empires. Ares sternly said, what are you doing here? Do you want to go to war? Don't get me wrong, we just took her away, Kushina said casually, and pointed to Aphrodite. Such a beautiful woman, she has no breath of the opposite S*X on her body, and her soul is very pure. She, the god of love and beauty, qualified to be your majesty's maid. Be the maid of that demon king? Aphrodite breathed a sigh of relief first. You said it earlier, and you thought you were going to give me some monster. No, I should be angry. Therefore, Aphrodite said angrily, I, the god of love and beauty, will never be a slave. Terumi May said indifferently, then kill you and throw you into the abyss. Ahem. Aphrodite coughed slightly, I, the god of love and beauty, are fully qualified for the great profession of maid. Be sure to believe me. Why do you say so? Shiva's 4 hands were misused. The other gods also glared. Aphrodite ignored it. Stupid gods. Haven't recognized reality yet. At the moment when Lan Yu overwhelmed the gods and killed Odin in a flash, Aphrodite was frightened, but he also understood. The gods are not what they used to be. That demon king is the master. Aphrodite is not afraid of death, but she does not want to die in ignorance. Really dying. At least wait for her to understand everything about the empire. All gods are curious about the empire, she is no exception. This time is an opportunity. Although a little wronged, Aphrodite felt that with her beauty, she could live well everywhere. The maid, isn't it just wiping the table and washing dishes? Too easy. Can't trouble my beauty, the rest is up to you. Either take it away or kill it. Zeus pointed to the ground, emptiness was a cold light flashing in his eyes, but this is my territory. For the words of Zeus, Aphrodite did not respond. God is ruthless and normal. Tsunade raised his eyebrows, so what? So, during the words, Zeus disappeared in the same place in an instant, and stepped to Tsunade's body, and his skinny right hand was raised. Let me see your qualifications, Zeus slammed out with a punch. Fist. To meet Zeus's fist, Tsunade's eyes lit up, and the violent factor awakened. Same. Tsunade makes a fist and strikes back, boom. The atmosphere between the two bursts instantly, and the roar is harsh, causing a gust of wind to sweep across all directions. Everyone couldn't help but retreat. Zung 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 zung. A punch collided, and the two moved backwards at the same time. Tsunade retreats 12 steps in a row. Zeus retreated to the 3rd step and stopped abruptly. This old man is so strong. Kushina was surprised, knowing that Tsunade is a power player and usually specializes in fist training. Little Hinata whispered, it should be Tsunade-sama who took the shot too hastily. The women of Mikoto were surprised that Loki waited for the gods to be shocked. Really? This old man shouldn't be knocked back by a female human, no matter how he makes free moves. She should be blown up, and this woman, only the second echelon of the empire. 5.7. Let's go. Tsunade glanced at Zeus, turning and leaving with Aphrodite. The look of blindness made the gods angry, and the god of war Ares was about to catch up when he was stopped by Zeus. Let them go. Zeus spoke lowly. Shiva frowned and said, Master, you won't be too old, right? Would you like to try? Zeus looked over sharply. Shiva shouted. Forget it, I'm not interested. Hermes couldn't help asking. How do you feel about the strength of that woman? She didn't use her best. After saying one sentence, Zeus's next sentence is more affirmative. I didn't use my full strength. This perfunctory answer. The hearts of the gods are more depressed. It seems that the empire is not the only one who has the strength of the devil. Suddenly, Loki's eyes jumped. They caught Aphrodite as a maid to the Demon King. Humans often say good things come in pairs. Why don't we give one again? What, Rocky is crazy. Zeus waved his hand and motioned for Loki to continue. Loki smiled strangely. Although Aphrodite is beautiful, there are still goddesses in the heavens who are not inferior to her, such as Athena, if you send her there. How about being an undercover agent? Gods, sinister enough. Good proposal. That's it, Athena, you angered me. Chapter 11. The only female emperor in the ages. You stepped on my skirt, die. Advertisement. The arena is not far away, a huge floating island. This is Lan Yu's fantasy creation based on the scale of the Imperial capital, with all facilities available. As a temporary residence for all the empire, now. In the hall, Lan Yu sat on the throne with weird eyes. Tsunade has 4 girls and 1 loli, snatched Aphrodite? Did you even serve him as a maid? At this moment, Aphrodite shivered. Conan coughed slightly. You were beautiful. I have to say that this god of love and beauty is worthy of the name. Conan had to admit it too, the other side's beauty bubbling. Especially somewhere. Oh, it's not comparable. Conan felt a little sad inexplicably. This big milk cow, what grew up eating? The concubine is so angry. But Miss Kagaya was angrily. Kagaya came directly in front of the 5 Tsunade girls, clenched his fists, and opened his blushing eyes wide. You are too much, how can you be like this, too bully? Kushina immediately explained, we didn't bully her. Little Hinata nodded repeatedly. Teacher, we are saving her, she came voluntarily. With that, little Hinata's Byakugan flashed a dangerous blue light, then looked back and said, right? Aphrodite was shocked. What's the matter with this little girl? At such a young age, there is such a strong sense of oppression, and I can still grow up. The concubine is not talking about her. To the surprise of the girls, Kagaya looked wronged at the moment. Snatching the goddess is such a fun thing, why don't you ask the concubine to go with you? The concubine is so sad, so sad. Women, Lan Yu. 07 Sure enough, Kagaya is still cute. Have you fought with Zeus? Looking plainly at Jili and Aphrodite, Lan Yu looked at Tsunade. Tsunade said frankly, it's just a random blow, I lost a lot. This is a disadvantage. Tsunade didn't want to find excuses such as the fact that the holy text hadn't been opened, the spiritual power hadn't exploded, and that he had tightly shot. Aphrodite's eyes flashed, and his voice was charming. Your Majesty, the great divine emperor, you can't underestimate the old man Zeus. Women. You were scared just now, in a blink of an eye? If it weren't for the extremely pure soul of Aphrodite, they would all think the legend was true. After all, if Eros is not clean, they dare not bring it back. You step back. Lan Yu waved his hand slightly, it was too dazzling, and his eyes dazzled. Let me take a moment. Retreat. Retreat? Aphrodite was very suspicious. Has your own charm diminished? She knows that the strength of the blue feather level powerhouse must be very good, but it shouldn't be to the extent that she is not interested in her, right? Or, noting Aphrodite's weird eyes, Conan frowned. What are you thinking about? Your Majesty is okay with your body, it's okay to take it, and Shanlan. Forget it, there is no peace of mind, feel sorry. Aphrodite was full of apology, with tears in his eyes. Please don't kill me, Your Majesty, otherwise I won't see my dignified, beautiful, bright and brilliant and intelligent sister Athena. The women were shocked. This is pitiful on the surface, in fact. It's completely dragging Athena into the water. Plastic sister flower? No, I just want to see Athena as a maid, this woman. Lan Yu was looking at Aphrodite right now. She entered the hall from the first. Just the master has all the rhythms. It seems all kinds of fears, but in fact she is very confident. All her speech and actions are attracting Lan Yu's attention. Even pull Athena into the water to increase its appeal. But in Lan Yu's view, this is under training. Take her down the formal process. Yes, Your Majesty. Conan smiled and walked to Aphrodite. Get up, I will take you to check. Aphrodite was stunned. Check? Conan whispered. Do you think that to be Your Majesty's maid is just good looking? Is not it? Aphrodite wanted to say so. Conan raised 3 fingers and said, you are wrong. First, check the body and be clean. Second, check the memory, be pure. Third, check the ability, no vase. Fourth, the scores should be high. Above, any kind of disqualification, from where to go, if it is too dirty, it is a capital crime. Aphrodite was stunned. Just check the body, she is not afraid. Can you even check the memory? Human beings have many secrets, and God's secrets are even more, after all, they have been accumulated for countless years. Aphrodite cried, she is such a dignified goddess. Good, Aphrodite did not refuse, have come to this point. She has been unable to look back. As Aphrodite was taken down, Lan Yu looked at the 5 daughters of Makoto. In the 5 women holding their breath, Lan Yu spoke. Don't take it as an example, just go down. Lan Yu didn't have any comments on the 5 women's robbing of the goddess. Anyway, he was not from the empire. But you can't bring him directly in front of him. At least it needs to go through the process. If it is brushed down, it can only be said that it is not good enough. Then he is not interested. Second round, who do you choose? Lan Yu looked at the top hero on the island. Strengthen the physique and assist the artifact. They are not weaker than the main god. The day passed quickly. The Imperial elites who had been transferred to Kabuto in the Celestial Realm also returned one after another without doing anything. Except that Eros was snatched away and became the maid of the Lord of the Empire, which made the gods angry. Advertisement: the gods also breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, only those women were involved, otherwise. They will definitely go to war. Quickly. The arena was once again full of gods and people. It was full of excitement, one side of the gods. In the corridor towards the battlefield, Shiva walked casually, very leisurely. Ha ha ha, it's my turn next, I have to control my emotions. Shiva has never been afraid of fighting humans. His 4 hands suddenly clenched his fists. Otherwise, with the present momentum, his opponent will be wiped out in an instant. The next moment, a cold drink came. Go away, don't get in the way. What? Did my Shiva hear the hallucinations? Someone told me to go. When Shiva turned around, a holy spear fell on his neck, full of sharp edges. Your Shiva was stunned when he saw the visitor. The visitor was extremely tall, dressed in blonde hair, clouded with clouds, and beautifully embroidered skirts covered with snake armor, wearing a helmet and crown, holding a holy spear in his right hand and aegis with gold tassels in his left hand. Especially those eyes are full of wisdom. Look at it at a glance. Beautiful and dignified. Like a girl again. The top goddess who is rarely seen in the heavens. The whole body exudes sacred brilliance and great pressure, which makes people afraid to look directly. Especially, the moment is extremely indifferent. Shiva was shocked. What do you mean? Such a wide corridor. Want to fight? Next game, I'll come, the cold and holy goddess spoke. The war gods planned by the gods don't have you at all, right? Shiva didn't understand what the other party thought at all, and immediately retorted, if you want to replace me, forgive me for rejection. I haven't been so hot in thousands of years, my blood is boiling. Speaking of which, Shiva opened all 4 eyes and shouted, take your spear away. Next game, I am coming. Ignoring Shiva's anger directly, the beautiful goddess moved slightly, and the spear in his hand was pressed down. The tyrannical force from the spear spread to Shiva's shoulder, and he almost fell to his knees by accident. Fortunately, he has 4 hands, one supported the ground. Next game, I'll come, the beautiful goddess spoke again. Shiva was busy, staring at each other's beautiful eyes full of wisdom. Really, since you are so persistent. The first hand pushed the spear away, and Shiva stood up and drank coldly. It's okay to fight you right here. Atmosphere suddenly became serious. Brush. The eyes of the goddess flashed with cold light, which shocked Shiva's heart. This goddess. Shiva was startled again. Just before the goddess was ready to take action, Shiva exhaled. Really, you can't help it. If I bully a woman, my wives will be unhappy, so let it go to you. Shiva said, letting go. The beautiful goddess directly ignored him and walked straight to the arena, leaving a few cold words when passing by Shiva. Wife? God scum. Shiva's eyes widened. What do you mean? As a god, how many more wives is not normal? What a scumbag. Forget it. Shiva is too lazy to care about the goddess. He has always thought that he is a gentle male god. At the same time, the human side. Go to the corridor of the arena. Many people crowded here, mostly men, looking at a woman in front of them with wonderful expressions. The daughter of the front. Very tall, 110 pics, black hair slightly curly, wearing a crown, wearing gold silk clothing, shoulders covered with taisha, the tail of the skirt is dragging the ground long. This woman. Graceful and luxurious, stunner in the world. It exudes a panic that makes everyone present palpitate, just like a peerless female emperor. All of a sudden, the men present were dumbfounded. There are such strange women in human beings. He was accidentally pushed and wiped a hand, a man with long gray hair holding a long knife, Sasaki Kojira. One accidentally took a step forward. You stepped on my skirt. The peerless woman looked back, her tone full of domineering and prestige. Skin. Bless you to die. Buzz. A terrifying coercion struck. Sasaki Kojira was shocked, and he felt his soul as soon as he drew his sword and prepared to contend. Suddenly broken. Boom. For an instant, the audience is quiet. Miyamoto Musashi was also sluggish in place. Kojira. He was killed by a woman. Light. The strongest loser. Sasaki Kojira. Die. Noting all the fear and anger of the people present, the peerless woman spoke elegantly. I want to be willful occasionally. Die. The coercion of terror. Cut across most of the corridor in an instant. Come on. A series of breaking sounds sounded, and the men such as Miyamoto Musashi in the corridor shattered their souls and turned into dust. A woman full of majesty, Haki took a step, turned and left. Sister Sama, Kojira and others, are all dead. In the second half of the corridor, Gray's tears burst into tears. Who is this woman? It's terrible. Kojira and the others are all Japanese elder sisters who are going to take to the arena to watch the game and cheer. Lien? Hild didn't care about the death of Kojira and others. A group of men looked around a woman like idiots, causing anger and being killed, as it should be. Count the 710,000 years of mankind. Call her own woman by joint, it's only her, but, completely wrong. Hild was lost in confusion, and the empress she had ever met. It's totally wrong. Chapter 12. Empress Wu Zetian vs Goddess Athena, fights with the sky. Advertisement everyone, are you ready? The second round is about to begin. In the arena, once again filled with gods and people, Heimlar shouted. Bearing the hope of survival of the gods, the fighter of the second round. Let's look at the gods first. It is the strongest god in Norse mythology after the first round and the strongest in Indian mythology. The destroyer of destruction and creation, the strongest again? In an instant, all the audience looked at the entrance passage of the gods. What surprised the audience was that no god came out. What? Heimlar clicked on a projection, which was the communication method of the god realm. He listened carefully, and he was immediately stunned. What? The appearance of the strongest god of destruction in India was occupied by another god? Who owns it? Who? What? It's that one, isn't it? Heimlar's surprise completely aroused all the audience's attention. God's presence. Occupied by another god. White Zetsu grinned. Ah, isn't it Zeus? Is it so anxious to die? With a trumpet, the sound is loud. Many gods glared at him, after all, Zeus's prestige was still very high. Clearing chaos anyway, is my mission, my destiny is determined by myself. At this time, accompanied by a burst of cold voices resounding in the arena, all the spectators were taken aback. This voice, female, goddess. Ah, it's her. On the top floor of the Empire Tower, Aphrodite, the god of love and beauty dressed in a maid costume, exclaimed. She would never forget this voice. In the heaven, not to mention other things, in terms of image, that goddess is not weaker than her. Comprehensive comparison. This one who played, she is the first goddess in the hearts of countless gods. Conan frowned slightly. Who is it? She is very strong. Aphrodite murmured, and immediately proposed. If she also comes to be a maid, it will definitely make the gods even less dignified. All right. Up to now, Aphrodite still did not forget to pull that goddess off the horse. His hiss, at this time, a strange horse cry came from the entrance of the gods. Immediately after the audience was stunned, two giant Pegasus covered in snow and white wings on their backs rushed out. Two horses are pulling a magnificent sacred chariot with gold and bronze gleaming on it. It is a chariot full of war atmosphere. And on the chariot, sitting there was a very beautiful blonde goddess wearing a battle armor, a helmet and a crown, a holy bow in the right hand and a holy shield in the left. The sacred light radiated from her, and the whole arena was lit up. The golden light, dignified and beautiful, amazed the staring gods. When I saw this moment, suddenly Heimlar's exclamation sounded. Oh, it's incredible, the second round of the game turned out to be the strongest goddess of Greek mythology. The goddess of the goddesses. Yeah, yes, wow, the audience was in an uproar. The name of this goddess can be said to resound through the heavens and the earth. Countless audiences have only one word to describe Athena: perfect. Contrast with Eros. Like a vase. She is the goddess of art, she teaches human textiles, gardening, pottery, painting, music, poetry and other arts. She is also the goddess of military strategy, navigation, agriculture, medical care, court, and order. She is also the protector of girls in their unmarried period, as well as the protector of women's labor and childbirth. Above, countless words popped up in the minds of countless audiences. It seems that it would not be possible without this goddess. As Poseidon said, the true god is a perfect existence from the beginning. Athena. It is the perfect goddess in the hearts of the gods. Oh, it's so exciting to have a goddess on the court. Heimlar also spoke incoherently with excitement, dancing in place. Let us greet this with a warm cheer, god of wisdom and war. Ya. Dian. Na. The gods burst into unprecedented cheers and laughed wildly one by one. Because of the perfect Athena, we'll never lose to humans. The perfect goddess? Conan glanced at Athena, then at Aphrodite. If you really make her the Majesty's maid, you don't seem to have any advantage. Aphrodite said naturally, but I am happy. If that perfect goddess also becomes a maid, I believe that the dignity of the gods is gone. Lan Yu glanced at Aphrodite and had to say that the maid dress suits her well. At the same time, the main god platform. Ares frowned slightly. What did you do, Shiva? How could she be snatched by her? Shiva waved his hand and said, I don't want to, but I can't kill her. That goddess. If he dared to touch it, he would be beaten to death by a group of ignorant gods. Loki smiled strangely. It seems that it is our plan, which makes this goddess very dissatisfied. The gods suddenly appeared. I see. Aphrodite was taken away as a maid, and they planned to let Athena go too, thus becoming the undercover of the gods. But after the gods proposed, Athena left the conference hall without saying a word. Disappeared all day. As soon as he came today, he directly snatched Shiva's appearance. Are you here to vent your anger? Zeus said in a low voice. We have ignored Athena's arrogance, not undercover, but the word made has touched her bottom line. It should be fortunate that she did not stand directly on the human side. The foreheads of the gods, but he didn't care too much. Athena really doesn't have a big picture. What's wrong with paying a little sacrifice for the gods? Isn't it just being a maid? You look at Aphrodite on the opposite side, aren't you very happy? Advertisement that maid costume, much better than before. Athena. Don't stop me, I'm going to fight the gods. The ridiculous Lord God. Athena glanced at the main god platform indifferently, a group of trash. Let her be an undercover maid. When I solve the human opponent, I will let you know what Athena's wrath is. The heavens, because I flicker, the highest and the most beautiful, eternal and eternal. At this time, a noble female voice sounded, once again making the audience in vain. Also at this moment, the sky split. Hi, what is that? It's so spectacular. When the audience looked up, a magnificent and luxurious throne, like a huge city, slowly fell from the space Uzumaki. For an instant, the sky in the arena is dark, then, suddenly countless brilliance bloomed from the seat. Beautiful beauties danced on it and music played, as if they were performing Wang's life. With the throne like a city fell. The audience could see clearly that there was a graceful and luxurious woman sitting in the center, wearing a crown and golden silk robes. Heimlar was dumbfounded. He didn't know him at all, and he didn't know the information. White Zetsu held the trumpet very calmly and simply spoke. The second round, human representatives. A female emperor through the ages. Wu. Z. God. Wow. The brief introduction made the gods startled, and the human side exploded. Liu Bu couldn't help but shrink his pupils. The female emperor? There is also a female emperor? In his cognition. Even if the Queen Liu of the Han dynasty controlled the government, he never had such a position. It's not her, it's definitely not her. The Valkyrie Hild looked at the sky in a daze, very puzzled. She has met the Empress. The appearance and posture are completely different. But that person's soul is not suitable to be brought to the heavens, only strength is not enough. But this prestige, as well as the scene of killing dozens of people in a flash before, made Hild confused. Is it true that what she has ever seen is fake, Goddess Athena? Lien, I like you very much. The words were full of indisputable words, which made Athena in a daze. Immediately Athena snorted coldly. As a human, we must learn to be humble. I, Athena, absolute faith. The two women looked at each other. Immediately began the eye attack. This scene dazzled all the audience, and all the women who appeared on the stage were so domineering. You were very courageous. Wu Zetian fell to the ground instantly, the tail of his long skirt stretched for more than 10 meters, and looked at Athena majestically. Lord Funlian, lest you die. Heresy. Athena jumped out of the chariot, and the holy spear pointed at Wu Zetian. Your evil will end at this moment. Brush. Athena disappeared in place in a flash, and appeared above Wu Zetian in the next moment, with the spear in her hand swooping down. That's it, human. There was a sacred and dangerous brilliance on the holy spear, and the tip of the spear was a few centimeters away from Wu Zetian's forehead. The audience held their breath. Facing the holy spear that was about to pierce his forehead, Wu Zetian calmly raised his hand, obviously very slow. But the gods were stunned. That hand directly grabbed the holy spear. Mayfly is going to die, and dare to fight the sky? At the moment when Wu Zetian's words fell, he grabbed the holy spear and used it lightly. Boom. The flamboyant movement has launched a tyrannical force, and directly thrown away Athena herself. The collision on the wall of the arena raised dust with the roar. It's too powerful. Empress Wu Zetian raised her hand and blasted the goddess Athena. Heimlar seemed to see an unbelievable scene, his voice was dry. Ares exclaimed. This is impossible. Shiva frowned. This woman is very strong. Zeus's complexion was low. Subconsciously, he looked at the Empire platform again. Aphrodite was also stunned. It is impossible for humans, obtained, to hold Athena's holy spear with their bare hands. It is absolutely pierced. The little maid felt the worldview collapsed. Kagaya was also curious. Your Majesty, my concubine walked around the heroic spirit yesterday and didn't see her. She, looking at the majestic Wu Zetian below, Lan Yu said something that surprised everyone. Her appearance was an accident. It was when I was resting last night, I played a game, on a whim, accidentally created her. What? Made it? The little maid Aphrodite was stunned. Could this great human being still have children on his own? What's the use of her? Conan was surprised. Then she is not the one in history. Naturally, no, Lan Yu said with certainty, below at the moment. The dust cleared from the wall. It can be seen that Athena stood there unscathed, because she used a holy plug to cut off the impact on the wall. The body is also spotless, as if no dust could fall on her. Within, Athena glanced at Wu Zetian and jumped into the sky again. A spear stabbed out. In the sky appeared densely packed golden spears, each with extreme sharpness. The overwhelming coverage goes on. The sky is silent, listen to everything. As Wu Zetian spoke slowly, a tyrannical aura swept out. Empress Coercion. Boom. Chapter 13. Bai Chi Zhong Sanfeng Li Kunxiao, kill Ares Poseidon Shiva. Advertisement boom. With Wu Zetian's coercion broke out. Under the shocking gaze of the audience, the dense golden spears shot out by Athena in the sky. All the devastated collapses. This human, Athena's expression was slightly condensed. The momentum collapsed her attack. No god can do this in the heavens. Golden tassel Aegis. Feeling the unabated coercion, Athena lifted the holy shield in midair. Boom. Athena suddenly felt the strength of that coercion, as if being hit by a mountain and being bombed out again. Until here. Zetian did not stop, and slowly raised his hand again. The gods use endless cycles of cause and effect to reveal the individual's destiny. Lien. Bless you to the end. Hey, Athena flying upside down. Suddenly a halt in the air. In disbelief among the gods, he flew to the female emperor faster. As if Athena couldn't escape Zetian's palm, the snake of Gorge. As the god of wisdom and war, Athena did not panic about this, but felt that there was a chance to fight back. Hey! When flying to Zetian, the holy spear in Athena's hand shot out, a golden light directed at Zetian. Roar! And on the way, Jin Guang turned into a huge white golden snake tens of meters, with its fangs open. This monster surprised the audience. Loki smiled weirdly. Even if he had cultivated his guardian snake into the holy spear of Elgane, it was indeed Athena. Shiva also relaxed. Yes, it's over. The snake of Gorge, but in ancient times. Torn countless giants. Almost no enemy can break through the guardian snake's line of defense and attack Athena. Facing the attack of the giant snake, Zetian said a few words indifferently. Thousands of stars, waiting for dust. The raised palm sent out an invisible wave, and instantly stroked 110 past the giant snake. Softer. Under the horror of the gods, Gorge didn't even make a sound, and his entire body suffered a terrifying destructive force. Dissipated in the wind. Turn into nothingness. Come in with Lien. That force of tyrannical involvement continued to erupt, and Athena, who was stunned by the destruction of the snake of Gorge, fell to Zetian faster. Holy awakening. Athena, who sensed the bad news, burst out of all power. The bright golden light on his body illuminates the arena. In midair, Athena's blonde hair turned into purple hair, her body armor covered her body, and the shape of the holy shield and holy spear were changing drastically. Ares couldn't believe it. Athena was forced out of war form at the beginning? Athena in this form is the true goddess of war in the heavens. Strengthen oneself in an all-round way and rank among the top of the gods. Athena's new form is too oppressive. I believe it will be something. What? Heimler's eyes widened as Rand said. All the main gods stood up in shock. Athena, who started the war form and had time to explode in the future, under Zetian's raising hands, her whole body was twisted like Uzumaki. Getting smaller and smaller. Seems to be swallowed by something. Until the moment Zetian put down his hand, Athena disappeared. The gods lost their voices, and humans were in a trance. Obito exclaimed. Kamui hollow? Kakashi's forehead. You read that right, it has a similar ability to your hollow, but she is too strange. Whether it is grabbing an artifact with bare hands, or a coercive destruction attack, the other is to raise your hand to pull it and swallow it. And so on a series of abilities. It's not what humans in this world should have at all. Except for very few, such as Adam's illusion, the rest of human beings are sublimated by conventional martial arts. Where does she have so many abilities? How could there be such a scary woman? The little maid Aphrodite couldn't understand all the power of Zetian. That's Athena, the strongest goddess in Greek mythology. Involuntarily, Aphrodite looked at Lan Yu. After all, it is the first time to create life. It is normal to give her more abilities. Lan Yu created the fantasy of Zetian among the kings, which was purely a whim last night. But it was Athena who perceives the game, then let Zetian go up. Go out and go around and catch a female god of war by the way. Athena is indeed not dead. Zetian's last move was similar to Obito's hollow, but sent Athena into a different space. Under the whole world. Could it be Wangtu? All in the heavens, wait for the harvest of the empire. Zetian calmly turned and left the battlefield. Watching Zetian leave, the audience hasn't recovered for a long time. Ended. Athena is dead. The plan for the struggle between humans and the gods, the second round of the Dusk of the Gods, the winner is Zetian. White Zetsu was not stunned. After shouting, he continued. His Majesty the Holy Empire issued a new order. The third, fourth and fifth rounds, simultaneously, opening immediately. Representatives of humans and gods, prepare for battle, and the game will start in 3 minutes. Wow. Simultaneously, the audience hadn't recovered from the second round of the game. They were shocked by this light and fluttering remark. The faces of the gods are even more ugly. Advertisement. Where is Athena? Is he dead or not? Zeus sternly said. It seems that the Lord of the Empire can't wait to show his ambition. You mean, he wants to end it as soon as possible, so that he can start a war against the heavens? Hermes couldn't help being solemn after he finished speaking. The main gods such as Loki and Ares also frowned. Shiva looked away. It doesn't make sense to say this. It's better to arrange the next 3 battle gods. We have lost 2 games in a row. The gods were startled. Only then did they discover that they had fallen behind completely. Shiva immediately said, other gods can arrange as you please, this time I must go. Ares full of suffocation, I'll go too, 07. Zeus did not object, he wanted to arrange for Hercules to play. Hercules. Thousands of years ago, with a human body, drinking the blood of Zeus and becoming a demigod and a man. AHFH, touched Zeus with absolute justice and the spirit of never giving up. Give Hercules a chance to become a god. As the godson of Zeus, Hercules passed the 12 trials and finally became a god. Let the earth maintain peace for 4,000 years. Is Ares' best friend. He is also the elder brother of Hild and Grey. In the original trajectory, Hercules became a stepping stone for Jack the Ripper. Hercules was not sent on the court. On the side of the Empire Tower, Lan Yu doesn't care about anything. Hercules, it's old. It is a stepping stone in many worlds, and this world is even more difficult to look at. Dignified Hercules, there are more 12 magical skills. With the power in exchange for his life, he blasted Jack the Ripper a dozen times, but he didn't even break the skin on Jack's face. Played to death by a murderer, this is why Lan Yu speeds up the process. Except for Sol, Sakamuni, and Zeus, the remaining gods are too weak to look straight. Shiva only dances on the spot. Poseidon will only poke with a fork. The 7 deities of good fortune are even a group of bad boys. Ares crying still needs Zeus to comfort him for a long time. The dignified gods have completely become rogue, gangster fights, and the martial arts style can't match. Sol's appearance aroused Lan Yu's interest. But after observing a certain future possibility last night, after knowing the performance of Shiva and others, Lan Yu, speechless. The gods of this world have been weakened to the point that even the children of the Empire can't beat them. For example, 10-year-old Hyuga Hinata, Tenseigan opened. What can Shiva, who can only dance, stop? It disappoints me. Seeing Shiva and the others fighting, Lan Yu might as well go to the Sacred Army to watch the selection of the team leader. The gods are weak. Lan Yu lost all patience. End as soon as possible. Begin the end of the gods. 3 minutes passed quickly. The arena was enlarged by Lan Yu, and the middle battlefield was divided into 3 areas. Each block is separated by barriers. Go straight. When Heimlar was still preparing to exaggerate the atmosphere, Lan Ziyu spoke up. Heimlar jumped and said directly, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, the representatives of the gods participating in the battle are Poseidon, India's strongest god of destruction, Shiva. The Greek god of war Ares. The 3 gods are already standing there. Poseidon was holding the Poseidon trident, Shiva's 4 hands and 4 eyes, and Ares looked hideous. Human representatives participating in the war are Zhang Sanfeng, the ancestor of Wudang, 13 Taibao Li Kunxiao. Qin Guowuan Kun Beiki, but when the 3 representatives of mankind are on the stage, the audience is quiet. Zhang Sanfeng's name spread too widely, and Tai Chi swords are famous all over the world. At the moment, wearing a Taoist robe, holding a sword, caressing his beard indifferently, he looks like a master. Li Kunxiao. General is better than Li, king is not overlord. It can be said that in history, the bravery of the king is no more than the overlord Shang Yu, and the fierce of the general is not more than Li Kunxiao. Standing on the battlefield like an iron tower at the moment. After taking a look, Liu Biyu felt his blood boiled. What a peerless fighter. Liu Biyu found a new goal. The last one. What is amazing is that this battlefield killer is indeed a middle-aged man who looks quite refined. Wearing white clothes with a long sword, can't see any fierceness and blood. So far, thinking about Shang Yu, refused to cross Jiangdong. With a whisper of Li Qingqiao's poem, Lan Yu did not bring back Shang Yu's heroic spirit. Liu Biyu, Li Kunxiao, Bai Qi, as will be enough for the teacher. Kill them. Yes, your majesty. 10 minutes later. The 3 major areas have ended. Poseidon, the Poseidon who could only poke and poke with a trident, was chopped into pieces by Zhang Sanfeng with a Tai Chi sword. Shiva, the god of destruction who can only dance. 3 hands were torn apart by Li Kunxiao, and he turned his head. Shiva's 3 wives and an elephant son died in a corner. God of war Ares. The unstoppable purpose fell to Bai Chi's feet. The gods in the audience were dead. Zeus left here a few minutes ago. I came to a big tree with birds and flowers, where there is a very fashionable god. The gods are already facing extinction. It's up to you. Sakamuni.